Hey, everybody. Welcome to The Player's Take, episode 71. I am your host, Justin D. Simone, joined by my co-host, Montrell Rice. How's it going, man?
So I wasn't expecting that one.
I don't know what you were expecting, but, that one came to me like 2 hours ago, after the PlayStation thing, and there was a meme that was getting sent around about the look of the console, and that one really tickled my fancy, so... I really want somebody to make a to superimpose Yugi's head on top of the Xbox and then put them both like on the arena they play the card game on in the show.
Yeah,
like on opposite sides of it. It was just like, I don't know. It was a meme I was thinking of, but I'm too lazy to do that myself. But I feel like Yugi would fit though on the Xbox console. Like it would work fairly well. But I did love the Kaiba. Like I like the fact that his collar like perfectly aligns with
it's crazy.
It's so perfect. Oh my gosh. So yeah. But how are you doing otherwise, sir?
Well, I'm trying to make it. I'm
living through every day.
It's been going. It's been an up and downhill.
Like it's 2020, dude. It's 2020. I mean, it's a struggle every day. This is going to be the most trying year of our lives, probably. I doubt we'll have a year this crazy. But
yeah, I thought 2016 was bad, but this year, really,
it's been one up by a mile. Like it's not even close. So knock on wood.
Each month though, it gets amplified. I'm literally scared for July.
What's July? Like July 4th. Something's going to happen on July 4th.
Yeah, that's what I'm scared of.
I hope not. I really hope not. Oh, man. Well, anyways, obviously, this is, you can clearly tell based on this conversation, this is a video game show. And this is our weekly show where we talk about video games, video game news, and other topics pertaining to video games. We post at 6 a.m. Central Time on Fridays on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, your favorite podcast app of choice. We're also on YouTube, 6 a.m. Central Time on Saturdays. You can check that out as well. But we're going to jump right into it this week, like we always do, with what we've been playing. And I think Montrell and I are in a similar spot. But Montrell, what have you been playing, sir?
Mainly, I've just been playing. I've been doing some studying for an exam I'm trying to take next month.
Mm-hmm.
So I haven't really been doing too much gaming. I've been playing. It's not on the list. I didn't update this list, unfortunately. But I've been playing League of Legends, and I came to a realization with that game.
Another one.
Probably
the amount of epiphanies you've had with League of Legends is truly, truly something impressive.
Yeah, man. Because I love the game. It's just, I just think the game's in a bad state, or maybe I'm just bad. Maybe I think that's what it is. I'm just bad at the game. When I try to play ranked, it's just I do certain things, especially I think I see, and this is where I don't like to like one up myself or be like, or be a pretentious gamer. But like some of the things I do are higher than the level that I'm at, and sometimes I have to dumb down myself to win games.
Yeah,
if I do higher level plays, they don't work and they end up backfiring and hurting the team. So
which
it's
is
just
fair.
Yeah,
that's a fair point, but it's also the game's fault for matching you with people like that. I don't know. I think I kind of came to a realization as well with Dota. Like last week, I was thinking about it a lot because I see you talking about League on Twitter all the time. And it makes me think about Dota and like playing Dota and wanting to play Dota. And it's like, I will love that game, and I truly do want to go back and play it again, like start playing it again. But it's like I think the constantly changing nature of it is just like too much. It's like overwhelming.
Yeah.
The game changes like every 3 months, and it's like I don't want to play it that much. Like that it is that I'm so into it that 3 months feels like a long time for changes to happen. And I know League's the same way with their stuff, with the meta changes in that game. So.
It's just with League, it's just like it's too like you can ban people and things of that nature because that's one thing everyone always says. Like when you try to improve, I think this is the whole system needs to be changing the mentality because we try to go on like Reddit and they have like certain Reddits for people who are actually trying to improve and climbing elo and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people give the same advice like, ward and think of every game as your fault. And I'm of a different mindset, and I did see an interesting post on Reddit a year ago about this too,
Mm-hmm.
and telling people that stop telling people that every game is their fault. Or stop telling people that every game is winnable. There are literally games where I go into, I can carry my team. I'm like I'm 7-0, and then my team just fucks up. And it's just like, what am I supposed to do? How is that winnable for me? That's not a winnable game.
You have
And
four other
I don't
people you're relying on.
yeah,
Yeah.
because I don't surrender at all. It's just like I try to play it out like maybe something would change, but it's just like a lot of these games aren't winnable. And another thing that I'm pretty sure Dota has the same issue, is that there are just way too many overpowered characters in this game now.
Yeah.
To the point where you can't ban them all. Like even the simplest characters, like I mean, I know you know who Garen is. He's supposed to be a first time character for like people who are playing the game first time. He's supposed to be a simple character,
Mm-hmm.
but he's like so stat bloated, and he has so many passives to help characters that other people who know how to play the game take advantage of him. And he's one of the more overpowered characters, him and Master E. These are supposed to be two characters that are meant for like new players, but they're just so overloaded that you can't beat them once they get going.
Well, dude, these games have such large rosters. I don't know how you keep them balanced. That's
Exactly.
always been my thing with these two games in particular, is I've always said that like their form of balance is not to be balanced. It's everybody's overpowered. They try to make as many characters broken as shit as possible, because some of the things these characters can do is fucking insane. Like it's wild, like some of the abilities they have. But that's the game, dude. Is like you put these crazy abilities in the hands of players, and skilled players are going to make other players just look like terrible because the abilities are so crazy and they're good at them. They're good at using them, you know? And I think that what you're saying, like the fact that there are champions that are like noob friendly or whatever, is like, yeah, that's a good thing to have. But it's like, to me, it's like you shouldn't have those characters in the pool. Like the shitty characters, I'm thinking about shitty characters, right? Like don't take them out of the pool necessarily. Like that's not a solution per se, but it's like, how do you protect people from like picking bad characters or from players who pick really OP characters and know how to play that OP character really well? And it's like you're exploiting like really bad players, you know, in that way.
It's kind of wild because like the two characters I mentioned, and I'm pretty sure there's characters like this in Dota and other games, but like these two characters where the high elo people are like, okay, you guys need to do something about this because this is ridiculous. And then they don't do anything about it because the characters are having high pick rates. And because of the high pick rates, they get more skins. And because of more skins, they get more money. So really it's just like a revolving door of like, who's going to be OP? You can tell when Riot, now it's so obvious. Like it used to be like in season 5 and season 6 and shit. Like I came in at season 6, but like season 6 and season 7, it was really covert as far as like who's getting buffed and why they're getting buffed and who's getting skins and why they're getting skins. Now it's like, I'm pretty sure this happens for Dota as well, where you can tell when a character is getting buffed and then a skin line comes out next week and you're like, oh, that's why they got buffed, because they want more people to pick that character. And it's like they want people to pick that character, then to get annoyed with that character's default skin and then want to buy more stuff for that character. So it's just like, it's not healthy, even though these are like some of the best free to play games ever. I just don't think it's healthy for people who are trying to invest in it. Because the reason I'm so invested in League of Legends, first of all, I put a whole bunch of hours into it. So it's hard for me to let go. I'm pretty sure it was the same with you in Dota. But it's such a streamable game and it can like garner more support for other things that we have going on. That's why I want to like start playing it seriously. But it's just like I have to go through so many hurdles, and it's really not good for my mental health. This is the only game, honestly, that really affects my mental health. And I have no idea why. Like I would be in the funk the entire day if I go 0-3. Like as far as games, like if I lose 3 games in a row and not win one game, or even if I do win one game, just seeing that whole, oh, you get XP for your first win of the day, and I'm like, I've been playing for 4 fucking hours and I just won a game.
Right. Yeah, and dude, that same thing, that's the reason I stopped playing Dota actually, was that what you just talked about, is like, because we have limited time after we get off work or whatever to play right at night. And to me, it's like, do I want to spend my 5 hours, off work playing Dota and I lose 5 games in a row? And that's my night. That's my whole night. And I just go to bed and I'm pissed off. And it was like, I felt like I wasted a fucking entire night. Like, no, I don't want to do that. Like I that's why I've moved to single player so heavily in the last few years, is that you don't have that feeling playing single player. Like, because the gameplay is it's completely decided by you. Like there's nothing stopping you from advancing the story or doing side quests or whatever you want to do and making the night fun for yourself. It's like when you're playing an online game, a lot of the fun can be dictated by others, and that is inherently like chaotic,
Yeah.
So it doesn't necessarily mean you have a consistent experience.
It's just right now, I feel like we need to, as a community, we need to start moving towards streamable single player games.
Yeah.
And I know some of them are like the Resident Evil games, the Outlast games, but like, what if I just want to watch somebody play Xenoblade Chronicles and like talk to the camera and shit like that? You know what I'm saying? Like, just talk to the people playing Xenoblade Chronicles.
Dude, that's what I would love to do, right? It's like, eventually someday is like stream a game like Xenoblade Chronicles and talk to people while I'm playing it, Like, that sounds so fun to me. Like it, but I don't think I think a lot of people don't view that kind of game as like fun to watch, Yeah. But it's like, to me, it's like, I don't know if the person you're watching is engaging and fun to engage with and they're having fun. Like, I do view that as fun. It's just like, it depends on the personality. I think that's the problem with streamer culture though right now, is that it is so centered on multiplayer games that it's created this mindset that I think like those are the only streamable games. And I disagree with that really heavily. Like I when I was younger, like really young, like 5, 6, 7, I remember I watched my dad and my brother play video games all the time.
Me too.
Because I didn't, I either wasn't old enough to play them myself, or I was almost afraid of the game because it was like mature game, more mature game. And I wasn't like, I didn't think I could play it, so I would just sit there and watch them play it. And I find that enjoyable. Like, I don't think that's, I don't know. It's weird. It's weird to me that like streamer culture has become so multiplayer centric. I know that it's like high octane and every game's different. And you have some of these streamers like Dr. Disrespect that are like really high energy and make it like super entertaining from game to game. But I think you can do that same thing with the single player game though. Like, to me, like for me, like with Xenoblade, what I'd be doing is like, I'd be like pointing out things in the story as I'm playing, because we're going to talk about that here in a few minutes. Yeah. And like, there are things that playing this game this week that I've noticed, because this is my 3rd run through of this game. And I'm even rewatching certain cutscenes to kind of like see if certain things I noticed are actually like truly things I noticed. And it's like the amount of things in this game that are like foreshadowed or, like linked to other parts of the game is fucking crazy. And I'd be talking about that on a stream, and it's like, I do think a lot of people would find that interesting and fun to watch. But, I just think streamer culture right now doesn't facilitate that.
What's interesting though? There's a game I don't play and I don't like it, but I will watch the hell out of someone else playing it, and that's the fucking Sims. So my girlfriend
that does sound fun.
My girlfriend's into the Sims, and she watches this YouTuber guy, and he plays the Sims. All he does is talking to the camera while he's playing the Sims, right? Mm-hmm. And he, maybe have a little storyline for a character or whatever the case may be. It's so funny and fun to watch. Sometimes the Sim does stupid stuff, and it's just hilarious. And I like watching it to the point where I watch it sometimes when she's not even around. I watch the shit because it's so fucking funny. And there's a whole thing on YouTube of like, because that space is mainly dominated by women. So it's a whole thing of like women just playing The Sims, and it's fucking crazy good. Like, it's just really good because this is a single player game, not The Sims Online, just regular Sims 4 and maybe the expansions. And it's like, it's really fun to watch. And then I'm like, man, like if people were streaming, like people on Twitter know I played Mass Effect like 300 times already. And if like those people will watch me play Mass Effect, I literally talk to myself while I'm playing this shit. I'll be telling people, shut the fuck up. Like, shut the fuck up. I don't care about this shit. Like, I'd be doing stupid shit like I'm actually streaming. And I think that's what a lot of people do when they're playing single player games. Maybe they don't talk to themselves, or maybe they do, but I just think it's really fun. Like, and if I had other people to bounce off of, like the Twitch chat or something like that, or if other streamers try to do stuff like that, because a lot of streamers, they play games offline. They play single player games. Like, I'm a Cutie Pie, who's like one of the most popular fucking League streamers. He plays single players offline. But like, bro, stream that shit and talk to your audience.
Right.
Stream. I wanted to see somebody stream. I did watch somebody stream Final Fantasy VII Remake, but he wasn't talking the entire time. Like, I would like to see people talk and, you know, talk about the NPCs. Like, what the fuck is he wearing? Like, I say that shit all the time. Like, when I'm playing these little single player games and stuff like that, or something crazy happens or something.
Well, there was like an awkward line in Xenoblade, and I was like, "Oh," you know, it's like, it's like you put, like, I point that shit out to myself, like, you know, and it would be really funny on a stream, probably. So,
like Charlotte's outfits, right? I was
like, oh my god, dude, this is a literal bikini. Like, you get it like right after you get her, and it's like, dude, like, why, guys? Why are you doing this? Like, why are you catering to this fucking audience?
That would be so fun to stream, right? Just like our reactions to that shit. But I don't know. Maybe in the future, maybe I'll just start doing that. Maybe, you know, one of us just have to pick up the mantle and just do that shit.
It's just a time thing for me, man. Like, because I don't necessarily, I don't know how I would feel doing it, playing every game that way. Because I feel like it would be stressful. Like, it wouldn't necessarily be as fun for me, you know, to do it that way. So I don't know. I like go back and forth on it. I almost want to try it, but it's like one of those things. Like, I feel like I've always wanted to do it when we have an audience, you know, and I like know people will show up, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I've thought about it a lot though. But I think you'd be good at it though. Like, with something like Mass Effect or other single player games. I mean, shit. You know what would be cool though is like maybe we should do this together and stream something together and play something together on stream and like fuck around or whatever, and like a co-op game or something like that.
Yeah,
I don't think that's not a bad idea either. So yeah. What else? What have you been playing, Montrell? I don't even remember what even kicked that whole conversation. Oh, League of Legends. League of
Legends did. And I've been playing Xenoblade Chronicles, so I haven't got too far, unfortunately. So when I last checked my save file, I know last week I said I was at 15 hours. I was actually maybe at like 10 or 8 hours.
Okay.
But I did get like pretty significantly far. I got to the part where.
What's the zone you're in right now?
The zone I'm in, or not, I didn't get too far, but I'm 15 hours in now. And the zone I'm in is I just got to it's like the swamp area.
Satoral Marsh?
Yeah, Satoral Marsh. And I got to the part where you have to I guess you got to go to 4 different zones or something and collect something to open up the altar or whatever.
Okay, so you're at the end of that zone.
Yeah, so what's his face just left? Not Dunbar, but his friend.
Dixon.
Dixon left and the other guy left.
Atharon and Juju.
And Juju, yeah, they just left me, and now I have to do some stuff with that. But
okay,
the reason I was struggling though, I'm probably got like more than 10 hours in this game. I'm probably at like 20 hours, but to be honest with you, because I kept dying, because I was trying to beat this like lizard monster in the castle, and I kept trying to beat him, and
well,
I finally did beat him, but
I know which one you're talking about. Were you trying to fight him with all his ads or just him by himself?
So I would pull his ads, kill his ads, and then I'll fight him by himself. But he gets into this berserk state. He gets like 75% health gone. And it's just it's his aggro just bounces all over the place, and I can't keep up with him.
Yeah. Well, what level are you? Were you like his level?
At the time, I was at his level. I was like maybe 30 or 29, 30. But now I'm like level 32. So I might go back and try to fight him.
Okay.
But I wanted to beat him because I thought I was getting the chain attack thing down.
Yeah.
But I didn't know that it was all based off. I watched a video on it and everything like that. There's so many different factors to incorporate into getting more chain attacks. It's not as like you can't plan it out like you can in Xenoblade Chronicles 2, where you can do certain combos, you get more chain attack links. It's more so like a chance type deal. Like you can increase your chances of getting
it. So yeah, chain attacks. the color of the skill you use gives you those chances, right? So if you use a red skill on one, a red skill on another, and then a red skill on the third,
Yeah.
that gives you the highest chance to get an additional attack in the chain
Okay.
attack. If the color matches. However, talent arts, the one in the middle, those are colorless and they count as any color. So it will reset the color of the chain when you use a gray talent art. And so that's a great way to extend a chain if the character if you're using doesn't have the same color as the previous character you used.
Mhm.
The color for. So say you use red, and then the third character doesn't have a red, so like Charla, for instance, and she's a bad example because you can't use her talent art in the
I
middle
was
of
gonna
a
say, like,
chain
I don't
attack.
think she has a
But
talent art. Yeah.
let's just say you could though. You use her talent art, it would count towards the chain of the two reds. So
Okay.
then it would turn into a white chain though. So the fourth ability you use, so let's say you did get that fourth attack, that fourth ability you use would be able to be any color because of the talent art. So then you'd be
Okay.
able to continue the chain with a different color. And you can get up to a maximum, I think, of 7 attacks. And dude, the damage multiplier at 5 and above is fucking absolutely ridiculous. Like completely insane. Like you will be killing mobs in one attack with the like 5th and 6th attacks. Like it's completely bonkers. So it's definitely worth pulling off. It's hard to do with certain party makeups. Particularly when you have Charlotte in the party, I feel like she really inhibits chain attacks a lot in the early game because she does not have very good color distribution
Yeah, she
in terms of
doesn't.
her skills. But she's so necessary to have as a healer. Like it's just like
Do you actually get another healer? I mean, I know I don't want
um
to spoil it for myself, but like, do you
not
get
a
another one?
dedicated one like her, but you're going to get to a point very soon where your party is not necessarily going to need a dedicated healer.
Okay.
The mid game really becomes the party becomes really powerful in the mid game. Like power scaling for the player it kind of gets a little almost overbalanced where I feel like everything's really easy to me at this point where I'm at, like in the mid 30s, mid 40s. I'm much further than you. I'm like I think my clock says 45 hours or something like that. Um, I told you this is all I've been playing, bro. Yeah, I haven't been playing anything else. Like I played a couple games of Gwent, but otherwise it's been Xenoblade like every night. I fucking love this game. What can I say? But it's yeah, so it's like the mid game you get a couple more party members really soon, and they definitely fill out the roster in terms of what your party can do. And the 5th member you get is not a healer dedicated per se, but they have some abilities that are heals, and
Okay.
you can kind of use them in place of Charla. And that character is really, really, really good at chain attacks, like stupidly good, because their talent art can be used multiple times within a chain link. That's just the way the ability works. So you can literally go, like, say you have Shulk, Dunban, and this character, you can do red, their talent art, and then you can go pink, talent art, and then you can finish it off with whatever you want. And that's like a 7 art chain, and it will work perfectly fine because that character has, can use their talent art multiple times. So it's, yeah, that character is really, really good. I've been using them as my main character for a number of hours now. I did this back in the day when I played this game originally too, but playing it again, like this character is just like super good. They don't start out really strong, but very quickly they kind of curve into a spot. And if you learn how to use them well, they get like crazy high damage multipliers with their abilities, and specifically in chain attacks too. It gets fucking nuts. So yeah, so the party does fill out. Like Charla feels like a crutch, honestly. Like she is a character that you can justifiably have in any party makeup you ever make in this game, because her healing abilities are that good. But she does eventually get to a point where she's kind of like overkill, and I'm already kind of hitting that curve point where like she's like over healing by significant numbers. When she heals, like it's like she's not getting full efficiency out of her healing because she's healing for so much. And it's like, so you're going to hit a point where that happens. And then this other character can kind of fill in a pinch in certain ways if you build them right. And so, yeah, I don't necessarily, and then like Dunban becomes such a good tank that like he can dodge tank things to a point where he doesn't take a hit for like, a minute, it's like, that's just the way he is. And Ryan is like really, I know he gets really good mitigation skills. I feel like he's a worse tank, but he does have situations though where it feels like he never takes any damage because he's just blocking constantly, you know? So, but then all of a sudden he just takes like 3,000 damage in one hit. So he can be a little weird, but yeah, so party composition is such that like you're going to be able to swap people around and stuff, and you'll be able to make some interesting combos. I am going to probably try to experiment more with some weirder combinations where I don't necessarily have like a dedicated healer like Charlotte, because the last 2 times I played this game, I used her like the whole game, and it does kind of like make the game, I don't want to say easy, but it's like almost autopilot sometimes where you don't even have to think about what you're doing because she just like will heal through anything you take. So yeah. But this is where I'm going to pitch you on expert mode. I know you called me crazy earlier this week when I brought it up, but expert mode in this game is a thing they've introduced with the definitive edition. And I am so fucking happy they did it, because this game had a significant problem originally where there were so many side quests that you would easily over level the area you're in and then the story you're doing. And you would be like, things would be gray to you constantly in this game. And expert mode basically fixes that, where you can bank experience you get from discovering landmarks, new areas, secret areas, and quests that you do as well. And basically any form of experience gaining that you get will be banked outside of combat. Combat's the only thing where you actually gain experience for.
Okay.
And this is such that it makes it so that you can, and you by banking this experience, you can level yourself up whenever you want. But the great thing about expert mode is that you can de-level yourself whenever you want as well. So what that means is that you can always set yourself to the level of the content you're doing, whatever quest it is, so that you're getting maximum experience. And this sounds crazy, but over the course of the whole game, you're going to see a significant difference in your leveling curve, because things that you're doing aren't gray to you. So like when something turns gray to you in this game, you get no experience for it. Basically, you get like 20 EXP, which is nothing. You're getting like it's a waste of your time to do it. Yes, you're killing them super fast, but you're getting so little experience that it doesn't matter. It doesn't make up the difference. So by doing everything on level, you're getting more experience over the course of the game, because you're always getting full experience for everything you're doing. So to me, that's like super valuable to me, because I do want to kind of 100% this game this time that I'm playing it, which means in the late game, like after the game is over, I'm going to be like close to max level because I have been doing everything on level. So that's kind of why I suggested that to you. You might actually be able to, or have been able to, get higher level if you had been using expert mode up until this point. Like you could have had up to level 34 or something like that, you know? And maybe that would have helped you fight this boss that you were having trouble with, you know?
Yeah.
Might have unlocked a new ability, or just given you enough raw stats that you could have powered through it, kind of thing. So that's kind of why I suggested it, because I just think it's such an optimal way to play personally. Like, because this game, that is a significant problem in the mid game, is eventually you're coming up on 2 areas where you're going to get so many quests, dude, that if you don't use expert mode, you're going to get through to a point where most of the quests you're doing are trivial to you and they feel like busy work because you're just getting nothing out of it, you know, because it's so fucking easy to do. And yes, it's going to cut down the amount of time you're spending on them for sure. But at the same time, to me, it's like not fulfilling, because I feel like I'm wasting my time because I'm not getting anything out of it, you know?
Yeah.
So I do suggest that to you, because right now, dude, like I'm at the point where my characters can level to like level 53 or something like that. And the story is only level 42 or something like that. The last fight I did, I was level 40, I think. So it's like I'm like significantly, and if I hadn't been using expert mode, I'd be way over leveled for the story. And so I don't know. That's my pitch for it. I think it's a great feature. I'm glad they added it. I frankly think all RPGs should add this feature. There's no reason fucking not to, because it lets me determine the way the game is played. Like, and I fucking love that. Like, it's really enhancing my experience with this game.
Well, I may do that myself.
You should just turn it on, dude. Like, honestly, you can turn it on and like you can still maximize your level if you want. You don't have to like use it for
I
the way
think what
the way
scared
I
me
am.
was the mode called expert mode, and I don't consider myself an expert in Xenoblade.
It doesn't change anything with difficulty or anything like that. It just allows you to determine what level you are. Like, and to me, like the story, I want to be on level with the story always because I want to maximize what they intended for that moment.
Yeah.
And I think that the original game, there were so many boss fights I remember where I was like literally two-shotting the boss because I was that over leveled.
Mm.
You get significant multipliers higher level. The higher level you are over the enemy in terms of accuracy, critical hit rate, damage multipliers. Like dude, if you go up to something with Shulk, right, and it's 6 levels lower than you, which is what the gray threshold, you'll one-shot it with a backslash pretty much 100% of the time. Like that's like depending on what it is, obviously. Like the
Yeah.
harder your enemies will, like the boss enemies won't die in one hit, but like the little shitty enemies, like the little, ads or whatever, they'll die in one hit to a backslash. Like it just that's just the way it happens. Like that's the way it works in the game. So, yeah. But otherwise, you haven't gotten very much further in the story, I guess, right? Had you finished the Ether Mine last week?
Yeah.
You did. Okay. So you haven't. Okay. So you really only done like one area since then. So
Oh,
not much
well,
is
actually, I did that. No, I didn't finish the Ether Mine. I was in the Ether Mine. I
got it.
finished that
Okay.
this week.
So how did you like that part? We may get a little spoiler here, just a warning. But how did you like that portion of the story? Like how that arc kind of ended?
It actually surprised me. Um, it was anime, but it was like in a good way because I didn't know the game set it up to me for me, right? To where I'm not sure if people are gonna die or not.
Yeah.
I thought I can't forget, I keep forgetting his name. Is it Garthon?
Juju, Artharon.
Artharon.
Yeah.
I thought he was gonna die. Like I
Yeah.
legitimately thought he was gonna die at one point.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I mean it didn't happen, and I was surprised and I was happy. I'm like, oh, okay. Like, cause the thing about it is none of these characters are like annoying. You know how they have side characters who are just annoying or don't really care for them at
There
all.
might be one coming up soon, but we'll see what you say.
So
about
yeah,
that
so
one.
far, I mean, I'll say that so far, only an annoying character I will say, and he wasn't really annoying. He was just a stupid little kid. Was Juju.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, he's just doing dumb shit, and like it's
yeah,
almost feels like plot contrivance. Like he's doing dumb shit to move the plot forward.
yeah.
That's like the
So,
one thing about him. But yeah,
but I thought the whole thing of Zord, and then we found out that there were like 20 other Zords, and then Metal Face, and then the Flash Forward, I want to call it.
yeah,
That we saw. I mean, it's some interesting concepts coming up. So
yeah.
I'm
That
kind of
vision
bracing
is
myself.
like central to the mid game. So
Yeah, so I'm really. That's why I'm taking this game slow, and I don't want to really distract myself. That's why I'm like taking it really slow because I'm studying and then I'm playing this game. Because I kind of want to treasure. I don't want to sound like I don't know. I kind
I
of
know
want
what
to
you
treasure the
mean.
game, right?
Yeah,
So
no,
it's just
yeah.
like
I felt the same way the first time I played it. Like there's games like this. This is one of those games. Berwick Saga was one of these games for me where they're just like on another tier, and you really want to make sure you like actually enjoy it. Like you don't
yeah,
want to rush through it, And I know exactly what you mean. Final Fantasy VII was kind of like this too. Final Fantasy VII remake. So
yeah,
I
yeah.
totally get what you mean. Totally get what you mean.
Yeah, so I'm kind of taking everything slow. That's when I'm like playing in like 2 or 3 hour increments because I'm trying to master a lot of stuff. Even though it's early game, I'm trying to understand certain things and things of that nature. So I may actually turn on expert mode because there's still things I just want to learn. I don't want to blast through the story and just be like, oh, I'm done and whatever.
Yep.
But
Yeah.
I don't know. The game is very interesting. I never really been excited for like a main character like Shulk.
Yeah.
I really like him as a main character. Like I don't know what it is about him. I think it's because he's just smart and he's not like OP. Like he has to figure shit out, and I like
I
that.
can't
I
wait,
like when
dude.
characters.
I can't wait till we finish this game. There's so many things I want to talk about in relation to the story. Like, dude, because I've gotten to the point where that vision happens, the one you saw. And there's just so much shit to break down there. It's fucking I can make a video about it. Like it's nuts. And I cannot wait to talk to you about it because it's just like the storytelling is just like this game doesn't get its due for the story. I feel like in a way, like it's just it's underrated in general, obviously. but I just feel like it doesn't get its due for how good the story is, in my opinion. Particularly the first half of the game is just fucking phenomenal. It's so good.
Yeah, there has to be something going on with these robots, and I really want to know what's going on with the robots. So that's why I've been very hesitant to look up anything about
Yeah,
Xenoblade
I
on
don't do it. Don't go on the wiki, dude. Like, wiki is spoiler central, man. Like, if you have any questions, ask me. Like, cause yeah, it's
because it's mainly combat related. But like,
yeah.
if you do like, I did search for one combat video on chain attacking and things of that nature, and they explained it, and he did a good job in not spoiling anything. Thank God, because he designed that video for newcomers to the series. But it's like the YouTube algorithm now is just like, oh, Xenoblade Part 17 playthrough, and it's like they're showing screenshots and stuff I don't know, and I'm like, okay, I don't want to see this.
Yeah.
So it's like that's why I went on the total media blackout even after I got the game for it, because it's just like I don't want to see it. All of the memes are funny. It's hilarious. I saw one meme on Twitter. I don't know if you saw it. It was like a little short meme. He's like, every time you teleport to what's the valley that you're in that you fight?
Spiral Valley.
It's Spiral Valley. And you teleport, and it's that giant ape there, and you got a picture of the ape. I was cracking up. That's exactly my mindset when I saw, like, what the fuck? It's like a level 70.
Like, his name's like Unstoppable Gonzalez or something like that. It's something. The names are so good. What was the other one that's in the Bionis? Like Territorial Rock Bart or something. Yeah. Fucking awesome. I love the names of these monsters. They're so stupid.
And it scared the shit out of me when I teleported there.
Oh yeah, dude. He fucking one-shot you, bro. Like, trust me, you're gonna run into areas like coming up, dude, where you're gonna have to avoid like level 98 enemies. Like, it's fucking, the game doesn't fuck around with that stuff sometimes.
And that's another thing about this game. I like how unapologetic it is. Like, if you run into a monster, because they get those buffs, right? If they're 6 levels above you, they get the same buffs that you would get if you're above somebody else 6 levels. 100%. Yep. So I love that. And when I do beat an enemy that's like even 2 or 3 levels above me, I feel like that's an accomplishment, because they get some buffs because of that.
They do.
And I just love how unapologetic this game is as an RPG. This is a pure RPG, JRPG game. There really isn't any like helpful mechanics to help you out. You just got to grind it out. But it's done in such a really cool way to where, actually, it's not done in a really cool way. It's just doing everything well. Like, this is what I'm talking about, where you don't have to reinvent the wheel. You just do the wheel really fucking good, and it can carry you through. And I think this game,
a great story on top of it,
Exactly.
Like,
so I don't know. I think it is a very underrated game. I am starting to see more memes about it, so that means a lot more people are playing this game.
Yep.
And I don't know. It was a couple of news articles. I should have actually linked them in there, since we're talking about Xenoblade. That the team wants to work on smaller projects and stuff like that, but they want to use the Xenoblade franchise to kind of branch them off, like to kind of uplift them, if you will. So I think we are going to get more side project games. We may even get some more remasters, what it sounds like, because they did a 10th anniversary, and they had Shulk.
I forget the character's name from X.
Yeah, they had her, and then they
Rex,
had Rex, and people were like, "Oh, they do know." They haven't forgot about Xenoblade Chronicles X, because they tweeted it out, like the company and themselves tweeted it out. So
of course, they forgot about it.
Yeah, I think because the Switch would be perfect for Xenoblade Chronicles X and the online functionality of it as well. So I think they are going to bring it probably next year or some shit like that. But
I'm hopeful, man. I am, because
I think they're going to start remastering a lot of their old games, or even bringing new games back, or as a newer game. Like, I'm really excited for Baten Kaitos. I think that game's coming on the horizon within the next 4 years. I can see that game coming. Like,
oh man, I want to agree with you on that one, but I just can't. I think that has been rumored for like 10 years. Not even kidding about that. Like, legitimately, since the 3DS came out, there's been people speculating that a Baten Kaitos remaster or remake is coming for whatever Nintendo console, and it just hasn't happened. So I think X, though, I would put money on X happening like in the next year or two.
Okay.
Frankly, I wouldn't be surprised if they're working on it right now. Like, I think it just doesn't make sense to strand that game on the Wii U when you just released Xenoblade Chronicles and people fucking love it. Because I think people actually are gonna like X maybe more than Xenoblade Chronicles, like in general, because I think that game has better gameplay and better exploration.
It does.
Than Xenoblade Chronicles does. It's just the story is like significantly worse, but a lot of people don't necessarily give a shit about that. So, and frankly, to me, like I almost kind of hope they do it and then redo some of the story and add new scenes and maybe add some new parts to it, because that's like the most disappointing part about that game is the story is just so like it's just so like disjointed and like doesn't have a lot of scenes in it, you know?
So what I kind of wanted to do the opposite. So I was thinking about it while I was playing this game, and I'm like, this game's mechanics is so really good that I would actually like to turn into a full-fledged MMO, and they can use Xenoblade Chronicles X as that platform.
They wanted to do that. You could just tell the way that game is designed because it had multiplayer elements.
Yeah,
you remember that, right?
Yeah,
like it had like you can go on like multiplayer missions and stuff, and there was like a legitimate loot system in the game and stuff. So it's like, yeah, that would be interesting. I don't know if they want to commit to something like that though, because that would be a really large undertaking.
That would be a huge undertaking, yeah.
And they would have to have a team on it always, like going forward. So they've like toyed with the idea. I know they have, but
I think they pitched it to Nintendo. Nintendo's iffy about it. What I think is going on is they're probably going to release it in this like the regular state, but the game does really well and the multiplayer seems to be picking up. I think Nintendo may like green light some kind of Xenoblade Chronicles MMO because it has all the inklings for it, bro.
Well, X is styled aesthetically like Phantasy Star Online.
Oh yeah.
And they can do that way better than Sega did with Phantasy Star Online too. So give it to me, baby.
I think that's the problem I have with Phantasy Star Online. When I played it, I wanted to play Xenoblade Chronicles X.
Yeah,
so that's what it was.
They have such similar styles. Like it's like absurd how close they are aesthetically. Because they look real. The characters look like almost identical in a lot of ways. So I would. Yeah, man, I know they can do it. I know they can pull it off. But it just feels like a long shot. Like they're not a big enough studio to do it right now. Especially if they want to do other projects with that kind of thing. So yeah, I don't know. That's an exciting thought though. I mean, let's just start with them bringing X though forward. Because that game is fucking. Oh, the game is so good. I just think about that game sometimes, and I'm like, I kind of want to play it, but I don't have a Wii U anymore. And I'm like, I have no way to play it.
I have some news for you, sir. I won't say it on the podcast, but
oh god,
got some news for you.
Oh man, I'm excited. All right, cool. I'll just stop there. Back to Xenoblade Chronicles real quick. I do want to talk about the see in the future thing within the storyline. Story element. I think I said this last week, but like you've seen another one of these visions now, and like how one of them plays out, and you've seen another one on top of it, and it's just like the way they utilize that story element is just so good because, like you said, you don't know how it's actually going to play out, like they don't really give you any tells, like whether the characters are going to live or die, and that continues with some of these other visions. And it's like, I just think they did such a good job with that, it could be something that's really memey where it's like, it's not done well and it feels really predictable and it's a really like crappy way to give the characters power. But they don't use it that way, and it's like, it's so good. I don't know. I can't wait till you get to the next section of the game. This next arc that you're about to go through after you get out of Satoral Marsh is fucking just so awesome. Like, it's just like shit gets ratcheted up here for sure in this next section of the game. It's still not like crazy complicated the way you're talking about, like with the JRPGs kind of getting out of control, but it kind of hints at that stuff. But it's like, this is in my opinion, I think that section of the game might be my favorite section of the game, but I'm saying that having just played it, so we'll see how I feel about the rest of the game. But yeah, man, I'm just excited for you to play it because I just want to talk to you about it like desperately. I'm like so I just geek out about this game, man. I am a legitimate fanboy for it, like full admission. full admission, I am. Like I just love everything about it. Like I just don't think it does anything poorly. Like the side quests are the closest thing to doing something bad, and I don't even necessarily think that's bad. It's just like too much, you know?
Yeah, it is a lot. But I do tend to clear it right now, but I can tell it's going to get really, really
yeah.
a lot.
It is. The next section of the game, I'm going to say, the next section of the game is definitely the worst for that. But once you get through that, you're through the bulk of it. The back half of the game has a lot less side quests than the front half.
Okay.
And there are still a lot of side quests that you can go back and do, like in the other towns you've been to before. But there are a lot less new ones in new areas. So it's it definitely clears out at some point. But they just front load the game so much, I feel like. And it almost, they don't really have a choice. The way the game's structured, you'll understand what I mean when you get further, is like the way the game's structured, they didn't really have a choice. Like they kind of had to do it this way. So it is what it is. But I definitely think it is. There are some people who are going to get like overwhelmed in the mid game because it's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot of quests. So you don't have to do them all though. Like you don't have to do them all, and you don't have to do them all immediately the second you get there. There's a big cutoff point later in the game where you kind of have to do stuff before, but you have so much time before you get there. Like you can kind of do stuff between story segments, at your leisure. So yeah. I love this game. But we're going to talk about it more. Obviously, Montreal and I have weeks ahead of probably playing this game before we finish it. That's how long it is. So we will continue to talk about it going forward. So let's move into the news. We don't have a ton of news, but we have some hard-hitting stuff this week. Let us start with our first story, which is actually about Konami. So GameIndustry.biz published an interview with the senior European brand and business development manager, Richard Jones. So he was talking to them, and he said that they are planning on making more titles in the West. So, quote, the drive is towards publishing more titles from Western studios. So the focus for the European team is domestic audiences. Obviously, everyone knows Konami. We have studios and teams in Japan. We have many well-known, well-loved IPs. They're all being managed and looked after by our studios in Japan. And what we're looking for is complementary titles to build the portfolio with things that perhaps are new to Konami, Western titles for Western audiences, which I just find that to be a fascinating quote. Kind of indicates to me they want to make more games. They want to make more games for the West, but they don't necessarily want to use their current IPs to do that.
Anyone look at history?
Yeah.
I mean, Capcom literally did the same thing 7 years ago, and look how that turned out for them. Terrible. Make games for your Eastern audience, port them to the West, and the West would love them. That's all. That's all you gotta do. To be honest with you.
Yeah.
I mean, this is. I'm very interested to see what's going to happen, because, like I said, this is Capcom's like their worst arc. If Capcom was the anime, this would be their worst saga. Like.
Well, this has been Square Enix's arc for 15 years too, hasn't it?
You're right. And they're just now, in my opinion, coming
out of it. Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I don't know. It's weird. I was laughing though, because I think of Konami and I think of Castlevania, and I saw this meme of some guy swinging a chain at the police.
Oh my God, I saw it too. It's so awesome.
And someone put like
they put the Castlevania UI on it. It was awesome. Oh, it was so good. I love video game memes. Can I just? Oh my God, they're so good. It's just. Oh, that was great.
So that's why I was laughing. But yeah, I think I'm very interested in seeing what Konami's going to do or who they're going to publish. If they're going to get a Western, I mean, I could see a Western studio taking. If they allow them to work on their own IPs, I can see a Western studio doing something with Silent Hill, like a really good.
Yeah, but they did that with Castlevania, dude. Like, I'm pretty sure a Spanish studio made the two 3D Castlevania games from the PS3 era, Lords of Shadow or whatever, and then Lords of Shadow 2. I'm pretty sure it was a Spanish studio. So they've done this in the past, and it like sort of worked and sort of didn't.
Was that a good game? I don't remember
So
the
yeah,
reception towards that game.
the first Lords of Shadow was well received. It was kind of sitting around an 8 for the most part. The second one I heard is not very good. I didn't play either one, but
Okay.
which is why there was never a third one. So it is. I mean, this is one of the things. I think Konami's been like kind of teasing the idea that they want to kind of get back into games the past couple of years. Like they've been doing little things, like that Castlevania Symphony of the Night little collection they did on PS4, and
Yeah.
some things the stuff they've done with Metal Gear, and they've teased Silent Hill a little bit, even though they're not actively doing anything, quote unquote. But so to me, it feels like this is like they feel comfortable getting back into the game this way potentially, where their name's on it, but they're not the ones making it necessarily. So I'm interested to see what comes out of this, honestly, and if it will eventually lead to more Castlevania games or Metal Gear Solid games.
They're
But
just such a weird studio because they have a lot of
yeah.
iconic series, but they just don't take advantage of it, if that makes any sense.
Well, they don't need to. They have other They have other businesses that they do. With the pachinko machines and some of the other stuff they do. I'm pretty sure they make healthcare equipment in Japan.
Oh, really?
I
Holy
think
shit.
so. Yeah, they're a weird company. They have a lot of things. I think they're also in like fitness. They're into fitness technology. Like I think they make like stuff for gyms. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I know they do other things outside of video games, which is why they have not been doing things in video games because they don't really need to.
Gotcha. So
So
that's a double-edged sword though, because like you don't have to do anything in video games, but wouldn't you have the overhead to like take a risk with
yeah,
video games? If that makes sense.
yeah, and this may be them dipping their toe back in that water in that sense, and then they're not going to start with Castlevania and Metal Gear and Silent Hill, but maybe this will eventually lead to those coming back.
Hopefully, yeah.
So we'll see. I mean, I think this is an interesting story, though. It's just interesting they came out publicly and actually said something about this because they've been so silent for so long, ever since Kojima left. It's just interesting that it's confirmation, basically, that they want to get back in the game.
So I'm gonna throw this at you. 5 years from now, do you think they'll try to rebuild a relationship with Kojima, or you think that one was so burned, that bridge is so burned that they're never going back to him?
I think that's possible. I do think that's possible, but it's really contingent on what happens with Kojima and what he decides. Like if he's willing to forgive them for what they did, whatever they did, obviously like pushing them out of the company, but whatever else they did behind the scenes, it's going to come down to him probably if they were willing to do that. But it also depends on how his games do, like his next game, whatever his next game is, and his relationship with Sony. Because I heard that he actually had a game canceled recently, and that would mean very likely that would mean Sony canceled it. And what game was that? Was that Death Stranding 2? Was it something else? Who knows? So, and he's not very happy about that right now. So it depends on what his future is in the next 5 years too. But
Really,
I
I
could
didn't
see
hear
it.
about that. That's crazy.
I heard about it recently. I think he tweeted about it actually. So, yeah. So yeah, I do think it's possible, but it really depends on how things go. Because I do think a Metal Gear game is probably in development in some form in Konami, and it probably has been for a while. It just doesn't. Who knows if it's going to come out? What it's going to be? Would it be Metal Gear Solid 6? Would it be like another spin-off game like Survive was, which was a disaster? Who really knows on that front? But if they did make a game, though, if they could make one and it was good and it was well received and it sold well, I mean, maybe they wouldn't even want to work with Kojima after that,
Yeah,
So,
I think maybe they should get someone else to do the franchise, but it's just that he wrote that story and it's such in the Kojima style. They would have to really get someone who was like a fan of his to like carry that mantle, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, right. All right, let us move on to our next story. And this is actually another big one too, in my opinion. So Sony had been in a court case in Australia over their refund policy, and they have recently lost this case and have been ordered to pay 3.5 million Australian dollars, which is equivalent to 2.4 million American dollars. And This was a case brought on by 4 customers who were refused refunds because they downloaded games purchased digitally or because 14 days had passed since they made the purchase, which isn't Australian law doesn't allow those kind of restrictions for refunds. So Sony lost this case. I find this interesting, though, because their refund policy has gotten better recently within the last year, but I still think it's a bad refund policy. It just, do you think this kind of thing happening in Australia could push them maybe to change their policy elsewhere? Because that has happened with Valve. The reason we have refunds with the Steam, with the 2-hour grace period of playing the game and refunding, is because of Australia. Like all the shit they've dealt with in Australia. They just don't want to deal with the idea of having 2 different policies, for one for Australia and one for the rest of the world, you know? Do you think that's possible?
I think that is possible. I mean, it makes sense for them to just do it across the board. I mean, I don't know. The whole digital, this is the main reason I'm afraid of buying stuff digitally. Because if I don't like the game, I can easily take it back for a little bit of I can recoup some of my money. But if I buy it, or I can sell it online to someone else, you know what I'm saying? But if I buy it digitally, it's stuck with me forever. And
Right.
I'm not a big fan of that. So
you can't sell it, you can't get rid of it,
exactly.
You can't do anything with it. And it's literally stuck on your account. And it's like, yeah. And I mean, if you, even if you like, I mean, what happened to me, right? Like I pre-ordered like Division 2 and I tried to refund it on PlayStation and I couldn't, because at
2
the
days
time
later you could.
Yeah, at the time that was the refund policy, you know, and Nintendo is, you know, famously like horrible with this stuff. They don't refund anything on digital storefront, period. Doesn't matter
if it's pre-ordered.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what it is. They will not refund you. There is literally no reason that they will ever refund you on the eShop. So it's like, be careful before you buy games on the eShop. Make sure you really want that game, because you're not going to be able to give it back to them. So,
which is wild. I think that's like one of the most anti-consumer things I've ever heard.
It is.
Like, and the simple fact that stories have not been written about it, or even outside of gaming, like Forbes magazine hasn't written about it or anything of that nature, I think is super egregious. Like, someone needs to come at these digital storefronts, because we're the consumers and we should be able to, if I should be able to get a code, right? That's my code. And I don't know how you can do it unless like I authorize to share the code. And once I authorize to share the code, I can no longer use the code. It's now registered or tied to that person. So that's how I resell digital games or something like that.
Yeah.
And it would be better. That would be better too, because they can control it within their own ecosystem, as far as like they may get like a 10% cut of it, or of that sale. So if I sell it for $45, they get 4.5 or $4.50 out of that sale or something like that. So, I mean, it's so many things they can do that they just don't want to do. And that's why I'm really upset with Nintendo and all of them, Xbox, everybody, because there's literally no reason we should be in this predicament. We shouldn't be having lawsuits or fucking digital wars over this shit.
Well, I just think it's silly that they're willing to fight these things in court so hard when, frankly, if they just had a more lenient refund policy, I think what they're afraid of is people are going to take advantage of it. But I think what they'll find is that they probably don't, you know? Like, I've not heard of any stories of Steam games getting destroyed because people refunded them in mass, you know, unless they're bad, you know. It's like, not like, because there was always that concern, that 2-hour grace period, that games that like took less than 2 hours to beat, people would return them. But I've never heard of a story of that happening to a game, you know, that was like that. So I think this is like a thing they've convinced themselves of that isn't necessarily true. Because, dude, the Division 2 is like the first time ever that I've ever wanted to refund a game, like ever, that I can think of. Like, seriously, I've been playing games my whole life, you know. It's like, yeah. So I just think more people are going to be like me than most of the time, like, than otherwise, you know. I think that'd be pretty common. Like, I know what games I want. If I want the game, I'm going to buy it, you know? And it's like, okay, maybe something changes where it's like, all of a sudden all my friends want to play on a different platform, but it's like, I just don't feel like that's going to happen that much, you know?
Yeah.
So I don't know. Nintendo's policies are indefensible with the eShop. Like I just, it's wild to me that they've gotten away with that for so long, and like no one's even fought. Like I think we had a story similar to this with them in a European country, but
Yeah,
it
it was
didn't.
Germany. They lost, or
Yeah,
Germany lost.
yeah, and it's like, yeah, that's crazy. But yeah, it just doesn't happen that often, you know. And like we can't even convince the courts to sanction them for the Joy-Con bullshit with the drift, you know. It's like they just get away with this shit. So it is what it is. I don't know. I do hope we eventually get to a point where like refunding games is like normal. I know like Steam and Valve are the only ones who've done anything remotely like acceptable with this to me.
Well, this is
Allowing
why
people to,
I
yeah, go
feel like
ahead.
we need game retailers. I feel like we need GameStop as much as we all hate that company or that platform or whatever you want to call it. I feel like retailers are needed for that, and I feel like more retailers, like especially like Target and Walmart, should offer refund programs or buyback programs or something. Then they trade in values.
Yep.
Because there are a lot of people like me and you who just are not ready to make that all digital jump. If I could do the stuff that I could in the stores, then yes, I would be all on board for all digital, but I can't,
Yeah.
unfortunately. So
All right. Word. All right. Let us move on to our final news story, and it is a big one. So since last week's show, Sony announced the reveal event for the PlayStation 5 and the game reveal event for the PlayStation 5. And the event has happened, and we've watched it in its entirety. And damn, it was good.
Xbox, take fucking notes. This is how you do a conference.
Now, I will say, I'm going to be a little bit of a negative Nancy here. I do think the dick sucking on Sony is once again a little bit too much. I just think it, like, people are like, oh my God, that's how you do a game reveal event. I'm like, all right, guys, like, let's calm down. They showed some good stuff. Like, it's some good stuff, but it's like, this wasn't like the mind blowing conference, you know, that I was hoping for. You know, it was like, it was good. It was good. Good. This is what Xbox, though, this is the bar that Xbox straight up needs to meet, in my opinion. If they can't hit like this, they're not going to compete, dude, because it's like this is like this was really good. It showed us what we needed to see out of Sony. You know, they've been silent for a while, but they always come to play when they actually start showing games. You know, that's the one thing they're good at, and it's like the one thing they need to be good at, and they did it. So let's go through the video, I guess, beat by beat here. So first thing they showed, this was a funny one to show, I guess, right out of the gate, was GTA 5. GTA Online is coming to PS5. Whoop-de-doo. What a surprise. I thought for the briefest of moments they were showing GTA 6. And then I immediately started seeing the graphics, and I was like, no way. Never mind. Nope. It's GTA 5. So, yeah. I mean, it's not a surprise. Like, obviously, it was coming to PS5. But they did say it's going to be free to all PS Plus players, I think, when it comes to PS5. I believe is what they said.
Yeah, something like that.
So if you like GTA Online, you'll get to continue to play it on the PS5. So second thing they showed, the next one, this one was huge. This was such a like throw dick on the table moment. Like it was. So they showed the next Spider-Man game coming out of Insomniac, and it is going to be starring Miles Morales. This is huge. And then they said it's going to be coming holiday 2020, which is even fucking crazier. It's going to be a damn launch game for the PS5, man.
Fucking insane.
Like, that's crazy, dude. Like, when they showed that, when they showed the game, I was excited. I was like, okay, this isn't surprising, you know. But then they showed the date, the like date window. I was like, what? Like, that's nuts, dude. And I said this when Spider-Man came out. I knew they could turn another one of these around really quickly, you know, because you already have the engine, you have the map in New York already made. Like, you'll need to make some changes to it, obviously, for the new game, but it's nothing like crazy as an undertaking. And I just felt like it was really possible they could get another one out really quickly. And it seemed, and they are here. It is interesting, though, they're not calling it Spider-Man 2. It's just titled Spider-Man Miles Morales.
Yeah, that is interesting. So I'm wondering if it's going to be like a DLC type thing, or
right.
if it is going to be a new Spider-Man thing or whatever. So,
I mean, I don't think it's going to be DLC for the game. It'll be standalone at most. But it does make me wonder, like, pricing for this. Like, is it going to be a full-fledged game like the first one was, or is it going to be more like a $40 kind of thing that's like, maybe 10 hours or something like that?
Yeah, or maybe they're gonna do like two separate Spider-Mans. Maybe they want to continue Peter Parker's storyline and then have a Miles Morales storyline as
Mm-hmm.
well. So it could be two fully fledged games. It's just like we're gonna have Spider-Man Miles Morales 2, and then we're gonna have Spider-Man 2, because everyone
Yeah.
knows Peter Parker's the original Spider-Man. So that, I mean, it just I'm interested to see where they're gonna go with this,
Right.
because they may be doing, or maybe they do a multiverse thing, right? Maybe they have Spider-Man Miles Morales, Spider-Man Gwen Stacy, and they
Mm.
continue along that. Like then you have Spider-Man Noir or whatever the fuck, So
Spider-Man Noir.
yeah,
Or yeah.
so
Spider-Man, Spider-Gwen, or something
yeah,
like that.
Spider-Gwen, yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's very interesting. They could do a lot of things with Spider-Man franchise. So I'm very interested in see what they're
Dude,
gonna do.
I think they're going to do a lot with it, frankly. Clearly, the fact that we're already doing a Miles Morales game before we even get like the second Peter Parker game is pretty crazy. Like, I think they have big plans for this. And like, dude, like they had Avengers Tower in the first game. It's like, I don't know. They could really go pretty crazy with this if they wanted to, like if Marvel lets them.
Yeah.
It depends on what happens. So I don't know. I'm excited about this. I love the fact that Miles is already getting a game. His suit looked dope, by the way. I
Yeah,
love
man.
that suit. I thought that
That's his
was,
suit in the comics and the movie as well.
yeah, that's a really cool design. I like that a lot. Obviously, this is a game though where like there's like 85 different costumes you can wear, so I'm sure you'll be able to change that out within like 5 minutes of playing the game. But I like that. I like that suit a lot. So yeah, looking forward to this. It looks good. I wouldn't imagine it's going to be much different from the first one. It'll just be potentially a different. It's just going to be a different story, but. Hopefully they change up some of the side activities and whatnot. That was definitely the worst part of the original game.
Okay.
All right, next one was Gran Turismo 7, dude. So I was surprised by this, that they showed this already. And
I thought this game was dead. I thought this franchise was dead.
No, I mean, it's still going. It's just getting, like, Forza's eating its lunch a bit. And, Project Cars is also eating its lunch quite a bit. But it looked like, dude, the interior of the car they showed though looked fucking crazy good. I was like, the graphics for this were nuts. I was like, what the hell? This looks like a real car.
Yeah,
I don't know
I was
why.
in the stream and we were all like, man, is this like actual gameplay or are they showing somebody drive?
Just showing like a real car, yeah. Yeah, because dude, I'm like, I don't know why, but cars for some reason translate really well to video games. Like I feel like they always have.
Yeah, for some reason they do, man. They just look really fucking good.
They do. They just look really good. So it looked good. I like the gameplay I saw, like, looked pretty cool. I've always wanted to get into one of these games because I like racing games, but it's just like so daunting for me because I'm not because it's a sim racer. So it's like you really have to like get into it. It's not like a pick up and play kind of game. I feel like. So I don't know. I probably won't play it even though I want to. It's just I'm going to continue to say I want to play it. Next one though was cool. Another Insomniac game. Insomniac coming with the heavy hitters twice, man. Ratchet and Clank, Rift Apart, and this looked. Honestly, to me, this was one of the most gorgeous games they showed during this whole thing.
It was.
Like, dude, the physics of all the stuff, kind of like just like the boxes and the grass and shit, was fucking crazy. Like, I was like, damn, this really looks like a PS5 game. Because, dude, he was like shooting through like grass and it was just like shooting up into the air and you saw all these particles and shit. It was nuts. Like boxes were exploding into like a million pieces. It was pretty interesting. There's a lot of shit going on the screen too. It looked like movie quality to me.
Yeah, it did. The whole issue I have, well, I said it on my little, when I was in the group chat or stream with some other people, but I don't, is it just me or did like Ratchet and Clank lose its kind of flair as being like really goofy and over the top? Like it looked good and pretty, but like, I don't know, something about those PS2 games, the way they did everything and the way the characters acted and the way the mood was set, it was just so over the top and fun to play. Whereas these games look like mirrors of those, if that makes any sense, but they're like more gorgeous, like more prettied up, but they're not as like
They're not allowed to have fun.
Yeah, it doesn't have as much soul as those older games. 'Cause I remember playing like Deadlock and Up Your Arsenal, especially like the names. Right, the names were fucking hilarious. Up Your Arsenal, but like, like,
It is a good name.
Like it was so much personality within the Ratchet and Clank games, and then when that Ratchet and Clank remake came out, I feel like it lost a lot of that personality, and I have no idea why. I think it was just too clean. If that makes any sense, like,
well, the character like banter was really like tame too.
Yeah.
It felt like it didn't really feel like there was much. This might have been a bad vertical slice in terms of like that part of the game. In terms of the gameplay, it looked crazy good, but I don't know. I mean, I've never played a Ratchet and Clank game, so I
recommend you go back and play the older ones to really understand it, because the writing was so good. They were really funny. Like, they rivaled Jak and Daxter in my opinion. Like, they were better than what Jak and Daxter was trying to do. Ratchet and Clank was like up there, because I love Ratchet and Clank 1, 2, Up Your Arsenal, Deadlock, and everything of that nature. And then when I played the newer ones, the remake, I was just like, it's hitting, but it's not hitting the way I wanted to hit. Yeah. And I feel like this one is going to be more in the step of that remake, where they kind of toned down the banter, because that's really what Ratchet and Clank was known for, was like their banter, the way they interacted with enemies, and just the whole personality of the game. It had real personality, but now I feel like they toned it back a lot. So I don't know.
Well, the original first game, right? They hated each other, didn't they? Like the whole game.
Yeah.
And then, like in the remake, they completely changed that. Right? Yeah. So maybe that's part of your problem, is like they like fundamentally like changed the characters to fit some new narrative they had in mind. You know.
Yeah.
So yeah, that game looked really good though. In terms of like that game is like this console's version of Knack, I feel like, and it's a way better like
launch title. And
a much better launch title. So that was a good one. Next one was from Square, and for the briefest of moments, I thought this might have been Final Fantasy 16.
Me too.
No. But no, it wasn't. It was something that looked pretty cool though. It's called Project Athia. And I believe it has a black female protagonist.
Yeah, there's a lot of debate saying that we don't know yet, but she looked black to me, so I'm going all in on it, baby.
It looked like a third-person action game. It did look a little like janky to me in certain points.
Yeah, it's definitely in those beginning stages.
Yeah, this was not the greatest trailer, but I'm sure we'll see more of it. But it is being made by the developers of Final Fantasy 15, so that's interesting. So that whether you like that game or not, that's a good or bad thing. But you know how we feel, so we're not going to get into that discussion. So that one was interesting, though. I think that was the only Square game shown, though. But the next one was a game called Stray, which appears to be a game about a cat that walks around a world that is inhabited by robots and does stuff.
I'm buying that game.
Really?
Yeah, man. I gotta buy it for Deli.
Oh, okay. I don't know what you do in the game. It wasn't clear from the trailer, but I mean, there were robots that looked like they were in what was the equivalent of a barbershop, getting like a screw screwed back into their head or something. It was interesting. But yeah, the cat was cute. But yeah, then they showed some more of the controller, some features of the controller, nothing we haven't heard before: adaptive triggers, ray tracing, built-in microphone, 3D audio, motion sensor. Oh, and yeah, there's an audio jack. Then the next game they showed was a game called Returnal.
Yeah, and that game studio made they're
this was Housemarque.
Yeah.
Yeah, these are the guys who made Resogun, Super Stardust HD. They made a bunch of Dead Nation, Alien Nation. They made a bunch of like indie style games, I guess what you would call. But they weren't really known for their AAA style. And that's what this looks more like. But it's a game that looks like it's in a bit of a time loop, which is kind of a cool concept. But it looks like a third-person shooter. Female protagonist. She crash lands on a planet over and over and over again and keeps dying. And that's basically the premise of the game. So we'll see how that goes, I guess. There was actually another game later on that was like this as well. Different premise, but similar time loop thing. But this one looks cool. I'm excited about this one. Housemarque's a good studio. And it is cool to see them branching out, I guess, into something more in that like kind of AAA realm. So
Yeah.
Next game, this one was actually kind of a surprise to me, was a Little Big Planet game called Sackboy: A Big Adventure. It doesn't have Little Big Planet branding on it, which I find interesting. But it looked cute. It's like a 3D platformer, Big Planet game, more in the vein of like Super Mario 3D Land or something like that, or 3D World. Which I find interesting. I actually really liked what I saw. I don't. Are you a big fan of Little Big Planet?
It's all right, but I actually liked this game a lot more than like Little Big Planet in general.
Me too.
I was really impressed by what I saw, and I'm like, this might be a first day buy for me because this game looked really fucking fun to play.
Yeah, no, I thought it looked cool, dude. I was really impressed by what I saw of it, and I was like, I really like the level design, the aesthetic of it was looking cool. I like the little female sack girl. That was a cool little character too. So I don't know. I don't know. It just was hitting me different than like the older 2D, 2.5D games were.
Yeah.
I don't know why those games just never appealed to me very much. So so that one looks cool. Next one is by developer Lucid. It's called Destruction Derby. Or no, it's called Destruction All-Stars. Sorry, it looks like a old series called Destruction Derby.
Yeah, it does.
Destruction All-Stars, and it's like basically like a game where you're in a car trying to destroy other cars. It's like almost like hardcore bumper cars, where there was a character that had a car that had a literal blade in the center of it that was like bisecting other cars. So it was looks pretty interesting. It's something I would love to try, but I don't know how big of an appeal it's going to have. It depends on how good it is, I guess. It seemed kind of limited in its gameplay, almost like
I think it's going to be like one of those free to play games for a PS5.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, so it may have that kind of appeal to those type of people who just want to jump in, because it almost looked like a cross between whatchamacallit and what's those two games called? I'm having a brain fart right now.
Twisted Metal?
Not Twisted Metal. Yeah, that's a good one. What's the other game? The RC car game. I can't think of the name. Rocket League. Yeah. So it looks like Rocket League, in my opinion. And maybe you want to throw Fortnite because of the wacky characters and stuff like that.
Yeah,
it looked like that too. So
yeah, I got more of a Twisted Metal vibe in terms of the gameplay, because I mean it's like a battle royale of cars basically. Which is what Twisted Metal was, but there doesn't appear to be weapons in the sense of like Twisted Metal, where you don't have like machine guns or anything like that on the cars, or rockets shooting out of cars. It's just ramming cars into each other. So I'm not sure how fun that's going to be after a while. That's kind of my biggest concern about the game, I guess, is like how deep does the gameplay go,
Yeah.
So yeah, so that one looked cool though. Next one from Ember Lab. This one was really cool looking as well. It was called Kenna Bridge of Spirits, which looked like a third person like Pikmin game. I'm not sure like what the genre would be. I guess just a third person action game, but
it looked like an adventure game.
An adventure game. I guess that's a good way to describe it. But it was pretty gorgeous, honestly. I thought it was beautiful. It looked beautiful. The little creatures were pretty cute too.
Yeah, I'm actually really hyped for that game. It looks really cool.
Yeah, I think
it looked like a ready eat for everyone version of Horizon Zero Dawn. They're like, okay, we couldn't make it for the kids, so we couldn't make it for the kids, so we made this game. So
yeah,
it looks really cool though. I like it.
Yeah, I thought this. So this was the point. This was like my cutoff point for where I thought this was a really good video, and then I kind of think it took a dip here at this point in my opinion. So the next one, and this next one, I know you were having issues with this one. It's called Goodbye. It's called Goodbye Volcano High, and it's about a bunch of anthropomorphic. It's about a bunch of anthropomorphic animals in high school, and it looks. People are calling it a furry game.
It is a furry game. And the group chat I was in, or the group stream we were streaming in, everyone was like, Montrell, there are other gamers besides you that are in high school that may like this game. And you know what? They're absolutely right. I'm 30, so this game just has no fucking appeal to me.
No, definitely not. It's not for us, dude.
It's so emo. When I saw it, I was just like, oh, the Life is Strange clone. Oh my fucking God.
Yeah.
And I'm not a big fan of those games, those narrative like emo games and stuff like that. So,
well, the next one was Oddworld Soulstorm, where Lauren Lanning was on screen briefly to introduce the game, and the game looks gorgeous. I can't understand what these games are about though.
So what's interesting about Oddworld is you're a regular guy, like a regular alien slave that frees other slaves. But everything else is overpowered. And you're just this one person who has to lead as many people as you can, to freedom or whatever. And you use various, it's like a 2.5D thing. You use various traps and other things designed to kill you. You can use that against the enemy and free people. It's like a puzzle adventure / shooter / everything, but it's mainly like a puzzle adventure game. It is really fun to play.
Yeah. Next one was Bethesda's Ghostwire Tokyo, which turns out is a first-person game. And it looks like a semi-horror game, but it's action as well. And there seems to be a lot of fighting involved. Yeah, thriller.
Yeah, it reminded me of a BioShock.
Yeah.
In the way, like a Japanese BioShock. That's what they look like they're going for. And I mean, it's cool. I'm just tired of first person, but
yeah, the second it was shown to be first person, I was like, I'm out of this game.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I just didn't want it. I didn't want it to be that,
Yeah, me too. I didn't want it to be a first person game. I do like the little ninjutsu stuff they're doing and stuff like that. So I may pick it back up, or I may pick it back up. I may try to get into it when it comes out. But so far, I mean, I didn't want it to be a third person game or a first person game. So I'm just certain games.
We're being selfish, man.
We're being selfish. Yeah, certain games.
Plenty of people are excited about this. I don't want to disparage this game.
Yeah, it looks really good. If you don't really care about perspectives, then definitely pick this game up or look at it and see if you like it.
Right. Next one, I don't remember the name of this one, but it's made by a company called Super Brothers. But it's a game where you control a ship of some kind and you're flying around a bunch of planets, and the game says carve out a future for your people while haunted by oblivion but filled with dreams, whatever that means. So I have no idea what this game is. It was weird because at first it kind of felt like it was a game that was going to be almost like one of those management sims where you're you're on a ship that's trying to survive in space or whatever, but then all of a sudden it's flying around on a bunch of planets, and I'm like, oh, okay. I don't know what this game is.
Did they name the game?
I think they did at the end of the trailer, but I don't remember what it is. And yeah, unfortunately, the article we're referencing doesn't say. So I
think it's called Jet.
Jet. Okay.
Yeah,
it was. I thought
Far
it was
Shore.
Okay. So I don't know. Looked interesting, but yeah. Next one was Godfall, which we've already seen before, but this was. We got to see more gameplay here, and it's a third-person action game, and it looks pretty good, honestly. Looks like there's a lot of different weapon types in the game, and it's going to be pretty fast-paced. I don't know what else the game is, though. They really didn't indicate very much, but I thought I saw you were pretty excited about this one.
Yeah, this game looks really fucking cool. A lot of people saying that it may be a Diablo style game but third person, which if that's the case, I am all fucking for it. I love action games, so this is definitely up my alley.
Me too. I like these style of games as well. And yeah, if it has like any RPG elements in it, and if it is like a Diablo game, I mean, I might be in it, might be into it. Next one was a game called Solar Ash. It is I think this was the one that was made by the people who made Hyper Light Drifter, right?
I want to say yes.
I think that's right, because this is the one that was like really cell shaded and had like the character that had like a helmet on that had like 3 eyeballs in it or whatever.
Yeah.
And they like jumped into a black hole.
This game was really fucking cool. It reminded me of the other game, Journey.
Yep.
And then it was another game that recently came out that reminded me of. But it looks like a cross between those 2 games.
Yeah.
And I thought it was actually like a sequel to one of those games, but it looked like it's a whole new adventure. So
right.
I like it. I like the vibes it gave off. I might dibble and dabble into it.
Yeah, I probably won't, but it does look cool. Next one though, I might dibble and dabble in this one, man. Hitman 3. Man, I don't know what it is.
Fan?
No, I've never played one, and that's the thing, dude. That's the thing. That is the thing, Montrell. I want to play one really bad. I actually own Hitman 2, I think. Like, I think I have Hitman 1 actually on PS Plus because they gave it away 1 month or whatever. So I'm like, I like really want to play them, but I just like cannot justify it in my brain. You know this thing that we do sometimes where it's like you want to be like playing the most like current game you can, and like games that like are a year old or like, oh, that's an old game, I don't want to play that. That's like, I think that's what I deal with some of these games sometimes. Because dude, Hitman looks fucking awesome. This game looks like Deus Ex like on steroids, and I'm like, I just was like, I want to like, it just looks so good. Like it's like a stealth game that's like really a stealth game, you know. And it just looks like it's really good. It's gotten they've gotten rave reviews the last 2 that have come out, and like this one looks beautiful. They didn't show any gameplay, even though they said they would. But I'm sure it'll be good, you know. But they did say it's coming in January 2021, which is actually pretty soon, which is surprising as well. So, have you played any of the Hitmans?
I played the first one. I didn't play the second one, and I didn't play the Exotic Adventure, the episodic ones, which I think was Hitman 2. Was it? Was Hitman 2 episodic?
No. So yeah, okay. Hitman's weird. There's actually a shitload of Hitman games, like going all the way back, I think, to PS2. And they reboot they
rebooted the franchise.
They rebooted the franchise this generation with Hitman. That was episodic. It was 3 episodes. It was called Hitman Season 1. That was when they were under Square Enix. Okay. Then that game apparently did not do well enough, and they broke off from Square Enix, but retained the IP. They came out with Hitman 2. Game did well. They're making Hitman 3. So,
okay. All right. So the original Hitman, the first one I played, and I loved it because it was really cool because you can they give you like a sandbox.
Yep.
They give you a mission, and that mission's a sandbox. It's a small little sandbox, but it's a sandbox, and you can do it in a various different ways. You can kill people, dress up as that person, or you can do it where you don't have to kill anyone at all. And I mean, except for your target. So I mean, it's just really cool that concept was way back in like the PlayStation 2 era, and that's when I played it. And I'm really curious. I might go back and play these other Hitman games because I'm really curious to see how they perfected that concept in these newer games.
I mean, dude, people say it's really good. Like I said, Deus Ex does this same thing, like a similar thing, but I've heard that this game does it kind of better than any game, like any stealth game. So that's kind of why I want to play them. But like, I don't know. It's just you got to find time somewhere to play some of these games.
When you're playing Hitman, you feel like you're actually infiltrating whatever you need to infiltrate, and it won't be like a little cocktail party or something like that. Yep. And you got your targets in the middle of the crowd, and you can just go in there guns blazing, and you got to deal with the security guards and everything like that, or you can like poison this drink and then methodically give them the drink, have them die, and just like slowly walk out. It's just really fucking cool the amount of stuff that you can do. Or you can wait till he goes into the bathroom, kill him with the choke wire or something like that while he's in the bathroom. Like, it's really fucking cool.
It's awesome, dude. Yeah, no, it sounds really fun. So I don't know. I may check one of them out, but yeah, I mean, with this one coming out so soon though, maybe I'll just play that one. All right. Next one was, okay, this was one of the creepiest ones, period, in my opinion. It's called Astrobot's Playhouse. And
why was that creepy to you?
I don't know why, but I found the little like baby robots horrifying. I don't know why. Like them being like super happy and like everything's like all like rainbows and unicorns and everything, and it just creeped me the fuck out, dude. Like I find it to be horrific. Like it was really horrific. I was like, oh my god, like I want to stop watching this video. Like it was yeah, I don't know. But I just find their like model and the animations like really creepy, man. I don't know. I can't explain it. It's hard to explain.
Yeah, that is very hard to explain because I think the game looks fucking cute.
Okay.
Even though it's a VR game.
Well, fucking play it. All right, have fun with it. They didn't say it was VR, but the last one was VR, I guess.
Oh, okay.
So who knows? I assume maybe it will be in VR, but they didn't talk about VR at all during this presentation. So next one was called Little Devil Inside, which was a third-person action game. It wasn't really clear what the goal of the game is, though, and like what you're actually doing as a player. There was just a lot of like kind of cinematic-esque scenes in it where it was like it was flitting between two different characters, like an old guy and then a young guy, like out on an adventure fighting like really horrifying monsters. And looked pretty cool, though.
It had gameplay. A lot of that was gameplay. Yeah,
was it? Okay.
That was gameplay. A lot of it was. Yeah.
Okay. There was no like interface though, from what they were showing.
Weren't any interface, but it was a lot of that was gameplay. Like when he's fighting the monster, doing the sword swings.
It looked pretty cool. Like that those parts of it definitely look cool to me. So that one's interesting for sure. Next one was Montrell's favorite game, NBA 2K21, where a guy was playing basketball.
Well, I wanted to go back to Little Devil Inside. So that game is an indie game, and this, in my opinion, I got a lot of flack for this in my last stream, but this is how you do an indie game. Like, you don't have to make the most basic, you have to make the most realistic graphics. They look cartoonish as hell, but they still made a game that looks really fun. It looks like almost like a Zelda type game.
Yeah.
To me. And they didn't really reinvent the wheel. I mean, maybe story-wise they will, but like it looks really cool. And it's not retro. Like, please get away from this indie.
They have their own style.
Yeah, and like,
I like it too.
A lot of people were, well, not a lot of people, but my group was like kind of bashing me because they're like, well, you know, a lot of indie developers don't have money and it takes a long time to make these 3D games. And I totally get that. And I'm not taking any knock from any other indie developers or anything like that. My thing is, I'm just tired of the Shovel Knight shit. Like, that was cool.
Yeah. I think they're doing it, though, because they think it's going to sell. I think they think those visuals are appealing to people. And there may be good reason behind that, because, I mean, I think a lot of older gamers love that style. So they see that and they, like, want to play the game inherently because of it. But I do agree with you, though. I think games need to get away from that because it's almost like a crutch at a certain point. You know? Like, we don't need every game to look like that. And I do like the aesthetics of this game. I think it looked cool. Like, it has its own style. It doesn't look like crazy good, but it doesn't need to look crazy good, you know? It looked like it plays well for sure. So
yeah, I like these little stylized games, and I think a lot more people should like take notice of that. You can make your own style in the game. Like, and I understand it's hard to do that, but you don't have to be super realistic as well, or you don't have to be super retro. You can just be like a little cartoon game or something like that. So I don't know. Yeah, that was my little thing. And then for NBA 2K, yay! I'm excited for another pachinko machine style game for my character, where I can't build it by playing the game. I have to pay to play my character, and I am so excited. Oh wow, yes. The sweat looks even more realistic dripping off of a tall guy.
Hey,
That's
man,
so
they were just simulating
man.
what the season's going to be like, you know, a guy by himself on the court.
That's exactly what's going to happen.
Yeah. So,
I'm so happy. I got into a huge debate about this game too, but I'm not going to get into that. But I'm so happy for this game. Wow. Yeah, we got Xeon there saying this game's going to look cool. Oh, by the way, guys, this wasn't gameplay. This was in-game footage from the engine, which was probably fucking rendered. So it's not going to look like this. Just to let you know.
All right.
I'm done.
Okay. Cool. No, I mean, you can go on a rant if you want. Dude, I'm always down for a good sports game rant. You know? Don't worry. When Madden comes out and I play it, you'll hear it. Next one. This one was trippy as hell. Bug Snacks, which looked like it looks cool in the sense of the concept. I don't know what the game is necessarily. It looks like an adventure game of some kind, but it's not clear who you're controlling because the one snippet of gameplay I think we got, you were controlling one of the bugs. So I don't know. I don't know what this game is, but
it is from the creators of Octodad, and if you play that game, then it was like
weird.
playing an acid trip. So
right. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it looks like it could be interesting though. So that's a cool one to keep your eye on. Next one. This was the one, man. This one was the most obvious one, I feel like, and I feel like people didn't actually know this was coming. Was the Demon Souls remake?
I didn't know this shit was coming.
I've said this on the podcast. Do you not listen to me when we fucking record, dude? Like, like this has been rumored for fucking forever, dude. Like,
that's the problem. It's been rumored. It hasn't been confirmed. I mean, until now.
Okay, but I felt like this was one of the most sure things that was going to happen. Like, it just is like, yeah. I mean, and it's a remake too. Like, it's not a remaster. It is a remake. They said that on Twitter afterwards. Like, literally a remake. So, this is awesome. Like, I think this game was really definitely underserved back in the PS3 era. I don't think a lot of people played it, and like the
Dark Souls franchise kind of overshadowed it.
Exactly. This is not Dark Souls. Like, let's get that out of the way now. I've not played this game, but I know it's extremely different from Dark Souls, like in terms of its play.
Well, the original kind of played the same as Dark Souls. They kind of had the same similarities as far as combat-wise.
But isn't this game way slower than Dark Souls?
This game is harder than Dark Souls.
Yeah.
A lot. It's hard to explain because they actually do have the same combat. It's just that Demon Souls wasn't as refined as Dark Souls was, and Dark Souls is not that refined in its entirety. So, this game is essentially what started the Dark Souls franchise, in my opinion. They took this franchise from the they took Demon Souls concept, and then they incorporated the Dark Souls, but made it Dark Souls a little more open world. Demon Souls, the original one, rather, was more level based. So you had worlds that looked like 4-1, 4-2, 4-3, and then 5-1, 4.
Right.
So it was more so like that. But Demon Souls was a little bit more harder as far, and I think more fast paced than Dark Souls.
Okay, we'll see, I guess. So yeah, look forward to that. I think I'm definitely gonna play that though. I don't know why the style of Demon Souls has way more appeal to me than Dark Souls. I just like it better. Like, it seems more like actually like fantasy, which maybe I'm wrong about, but like it just looks that way versus Dark Souls, which is way more like horrific looking, in terms of its style.
Yeah, Dark Souls is more so it is fantasy, but it's more so like fantasy apocalyptic. So it's after the fact of everything went down, and then you're playing in that world after it went down.
Yeah. So the next one is this one looks really cool too, was Deathloop, which is being made by Arcane Studios, who've made the Dishonored games, and it's about two assassins who are trying to kill each other, but one of them is stuck in a time loop where he is constantly getting killed, and according to the trailer, everybody is basically he's on an island, and everyone in this island is just trying to kill him. Like, that's the whole point of everybody being there. And he's just stuck in a time loop where he keeps dying over and over and over again. And it's a cool concept. This was a really cool concept when it was first revealed. But I don't understand. I guess what I'm going to kind of question here is, like, how does the time loop impact gameplay? Is it just a story thing, or is it actually going to be a gameplay mechanic? That wasn't clear from the trailer, but the game looks cool regardless.
It has a grindhouse feel to it.
Yeah. It is first person, which I know we were just bagging on a first person game, but this is more of a shooter.
Yeah, so I think it works for this type of game.
Yeah. I don't know. I was feeling this one a little bit more than Tokyo for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Now, I remember when this game was first announced, people said that it was going to be multiplayer, but it looks single player. So I'm not sure.
Well, it would be cool as multiplayer. It'd be cool if it had a mode where you played, like each of you played one of the assassins, and you were just trying to kill the other person. That would be
Yeah,
kind of cool, I
that would
guess.
be cool. Yeah.
I don't know how that would work though. But it sounds cool. But yeah, it sounds like this is a single player game first and foremost. So, um, which is pretty cool. Next one was this was kind of a misdirect. I felt like because it was just like a generic horror game at first, and all of a sudden it's Resident Evil 8. And it's called Resident Evil 8, but it's like in the word village, which was really cool. So it's another first person Resident Evil, but this one, I like the concept of this one way more than Resident Evil 7.
Yes. So
Um,
I thought it was just me, but this one looks a lot more open. In Resident Evil
yes.
7, you were contained to that house.
Yep.
Whereas this one looks like you're going to be in the actual village, and that terrifies me more and makes me want to play the game more than just being trapped inside a house.
I agree. Even though I don't like horror games and I've never really played Resident Evil.
Yeah. No.
I probably won't play this one, but that definitely is more appealing to me, for sure. So that's cool. That was a big reveal, though. I think they really nailed that trailer for sure. Because yeah, it did not feel like Resident Evil until all of a sudden it was. You know,
Yeah.
I really didn't know what the game was, and it was like I was like, this looks
Yeah.
interesting, but
We were like, is this Silent Hill, the Evil Within, or
yeah,
is it
right,
Resident Evil? It turned out to be Resident Evil, which is
yeah.
cool.
So, yeah, I mean, they're doing a good job with that series for sure. All right, next one was this one was weird. People, I was like watching I was on YouTube, so there was like a chat scrolling while I was watching this, and
Yeah.
it's called Pragmata, and it looked super trippy. It basically looked like Death Stranding, like in a different like world, basically. And a lot of people were like, "Oh, is this Kojima's next game?" It was like, no, but I don't actually know who this is from.
Capcom.
Who?
It's from Capcom.
It is? Okay.
Yeah.
Did they give a
Yeah.
specific studio, or is it just Capcom
They just say Capcom for right now. If you looked at if you saw a trailer,
at
and
the
then you
end,
saw
right?
under it, yeah, it said
Yeah.
Capcom reserves the rights or whatever. So it's a
Got it.
Capcom game, but I don't know
Okay.
what studio is making it from Capcom.
Okay. Got it. It looked trippy as hell, though. Whatever the case. And it's
I
not
thought
really.
I thought it was a Division game. I'm like, is this a Division game? And then I
Really?
saw him look in the sky, and I saw like the moon in the sky. I'm like, oh, it's not a Division game. That's
Mhm.
too. That
Yeah.
right there is just too much for them right there.
Yeah. And then the final reveal of games was Horizon 2, which they're not calling Horizon 2. They're calling it Horizon Forbidden West. And it was mostly a story trailer. It had some like wide, what looked appeared to be gameplay shots of her like riding one of those stag robots through some environments. But what did you feel when you saw this?
I was actually excited for it. It looks like they're gonna. I mean, just from the trailer and stuff like that. And Gorilla has a tendency not to try to one up themselves. So I think just off the basis of Gorilla, I think they're gonna do more for the combat, like make it more combat-y.
Better?
Yeah, make it better.
Hopefully.
Because I actually love the story and the world of Horizon.
It's
Like
awesome. Yep.
it's really cool. The only thing I couldn't get behind, which I kind of kept my mouth shut in the stream I was watching it with, the gameplay was like really bad.
Not a
for me.
popular opinion, Montreal, because I 100% agree with you. I think this game is like I think Horizon Zero Dawn is one of the most overhyped games this generation, because I think the gameplay really lets it down. Like hardcore lets it down. Like the story is fucking awesome and like phenomenal. Like I think it's one of the best stories this gen. But yeah, the gameplay just doesn't do it. And it really falters in the later stages of the game.
Yeah.
In my opinion. Early game, it feels really good, but like, yeah, later on, it just doesn't hold up. And that's my biggest concern with this one is I really hope they actually do refine stuff, because feels like a Breath of the Wild situation where like everyone's like, oh, your game is so good. Your game is like the best game I've ever played. And they like don't actually like change anything because they're afraid people aren't going to like it, I doubt
Yeah.
they do that though. Sony Studios are really good about that kind of thing. They
Yeah,
tend not to do that.
that's why I'm like hyped for it, because like you said, Sony Studios, they really guerrilla games, they really know how to improve games. Even if people tell them like, hey, your game is like fucking 10 out of 10, they're like, this is some stuff we can improve.
Yeah.
So I'm really interested to see the gameplay aspect of it. Because like I said, I love Horizon Zero Dawn's concept. I love the story. Uh just the concept of having fucking robot animals everywhere, animatronic
Yeah.
animals everywhere is fucking dope to me.
Yeah.
It reminded me so much of Monster Hunter, and the simple fact that the team was like, hey, we played Monster Hunter and we're like, how can we do this? So it's just so much that I love about the franchise and the history behind it. The only thing that really hurts my heart is the gameplay is just so boring, in my opinion. I mean, a lot of people would disagree with me on that, but it's just coming from Monster Hunter, it's like really boring to me. So yeah. So
Yeah, I mean, I hope they do a better job with the melee combat. I think melee combat in the game was fucking horrible, like absolutely horrendous.
It was terrible.
I really hope they actually introduce real weapon types for melee, and it's not just bow combat. I like the bow combat, and I think it was a bold choice of them to like make that the center point of gameplay. But I think in this game, like, I don't think they can get away with that personally again. Like, I think they really need to actually like make melee a thing, and like make like combos and stuff like that, and like abilities you can use it in melee.
Yeah.
Because I don't think the bow on its own just didn't do it after a while, because the game, it becomes like really one note in what you have to do to fight the monsters. So, and I think human fights were terrible for the most part in the game. Like they were the worst part of the game in my opinion. But yeah, I don't know. Like, I think this trailer was kind of bad though overall. Like, I didn't really, I was not hyped at all watching it. I was like, Horizon 2. We knew this game was coming. It looks like Horizon. Awesome. It was like, that's all I really got out of it. Like, in the stuff they were showing for the story was just like, oh yeah, that's the villain guy. Oh, okay. He's in this game too. Okay, great. Like, that's the game. Like, awesome. It's like, and the more I think about it, the more excited I get, because it's like, it seems like it's going to be taking place over a very vast expanse of land mass in like the West Coast. So that's really exciting to me, and there's going to be a lot of different environments, which is cool. But it's just the way they presented it didn't hit for me for whatever reason. But okay, cool. Any other thoughts on that?
Nope, that's it.
Okay, last thing they showed was the console itself, and goddamn is it meme worthy. So it is a white and black design that has a very asymmetric look to it. It is honestly not anything close to what I expected. And there were a lot of jokes about it looking like a router, and I'm already over the joke, frankly. I just like, I'm like, God damn it. Like,
it does look like a router though.
I mean, it does. I'm way more on the Kaiba train though. I think that was a way better meme personally. But it looks okay. I think it looks a lot better without the disc drive. The version with the disc drive looks really bad in my opinion. I also think this console is like, what is it with these things being designed so they cannot be sat on their side? Like, this is another one that I feel like you're really not going to be able to sit down on its side, even though I did see a picture of it on its side. I think it was from an official Sony account actually too, but it just didn't look good on its side,
Yeah.
So I don't know.
I mean, I'm part of Vertical Boys. So I mean, all my consoles are vertical. I like it.
Hashtag Vertical Boys.
Vertical Boys. But I know there are a lot of people who I used to be a part of the horizontal crew, and I appreciate the aesthetic of horizontal, but vertical is just so much more visually pleasing and space worthy.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. It does look really weird on the horizontal end. I actually like both digital and the non-digital one. I don't really mind it. I think the game, I think the console actually looks like it came from Portal, like the game Portal from Aperture Companies. That's what it looks like. That's what reminds me of the Portal gun and all the technology. So I thought that was no one did that meme, so I think Portal's kind of old. So I'm really old. So whatever.
It is old. That's from like 2009, dude, isn't
Yeah.
it? 2008 even. Shit, that's an old game.
Yeah. So I actually like the look of the console though. A lot of people said they wanted it in black. I don't think it will look as exciting in
Oh
black.
no, Ugh,
Yeah, I
no,
don't.
all black.
Yeah, people
Yeah,
wanted it all
no,
black. Yeah,
no, this would
because
look
I mean,
terrible in all
I
black.
think the black thing's like a staple for PlayStation since the PlayStation 2.
Yeah,
So a lot of people want black, but like honestly, I don't know where that came from because uh the first
PS1 was
PlayStation was great.
gray.
Yeah, the first one was
Yeah,
gray, and then the little mini PlayStation they came out with
yeah,
that was white. And
yeah.
when I traded in my gray one for the white one because I loved the way that aesthetically looked in my
Yeah.
house and everything of that
It's
nature.
just PS2, dude. I think PS2 did it because it was such a huge juggernaut for
Yeah,
them.
you're right.
And I think that just became the color. But I think the white and blue and the white, blue, and black, I think is beautiful for Sony. I think this is a great design. I think this is what they should be going for to differentiate themselves because Xbox is doing the black. Like they have the black and green. I know it's
Yeah.
like different, colors with the green, but it's like they already get the black on lock, Like I think Sony, like, dude, I had the white PS4 forever and that thing looked sleek as hell. Like
Yeah,
it
I
looks
still
so
have my
good.
white PS4 and I love it.
Dude,
And it's so
yeah.
wild to me that the black one is the standard. So when I see people with the black PS4, it throws me off. Like I just get thrown all the way the fuck off.
Totally.
So I am so glad they went with the white color scheme because it looks really fucking clean.
I think it does too. I like it a lot. I love the controller look. Honestly, the more I've looked at it.
So everyone hates it. A lot of people hate the controller. They say it's the ugliest thing they've ever seen.
They'll get over it, dude. Like, okay, you're gonna say it's the ugliest thing you've ever seen when you've seen the original Xbox controller. They probably haven't actually. They're all like fucking 15-year-olds. Like they weren't even alive when that thing was the main console. Never mind. But yeah, I think it looks beautiful, and I think alternate color schemes on that thing are gonna be fucking dope as shit on the controller.
I can't fucking wait for that shit, man.
I mean, we saw all the alternate designs people were coming up with online when the controller was initially revealed, and they looked fucking great. So the console itself, I'm not so sure about. I don't know about alternate color designs with that thing. It's gonna be weird. I
can see it in a red color, but yeah, you're right. It's gonna be really weird in like black if they do come out with a black design.
Yeah.
I
think red and white, like red on the outside, white in the middle, would look really good. That'd be a great like Spider-Man limited edition one.
I think the red. I think it'd be red and black. So I think that would be cool.
Oh, I guess that's true. Yeah, because Miles Morales. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe for the next game when it's Peter Parker again.
Or like if they can come up with some kind of, I know this would be a wild, far-fetched thing, but you can customize it where you order it straight from PlayStation. You can customize the lights inside of the PlayStation.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Instead of it being blue, it can, be another
maybe
color
a red
like
one
that.
or whatever. Yeah. Or white, even like white lights would be cool.
That would be cool.
That'd be pretty cool. But they didn't mention price or release date. There were a lot of rumors about price going around before this was before this video was shown. What are you feeling right now? Like, what do you think the price is going to be on this thing?
Just for all the accessories I saw. So you get the controller, the media controller.
Yep.
Or the media remote, rather. You get some really good looking headphones.
Well,
honestly,
okay. Do you think they were showing all this though? That's all going to be in the box? I didn't think so. I didn't take it that way. I didn't take it that way.
You took it as accessories, like
I took it as they're showing the full accessory line with the console to show the whole design, like how it looks all together, and what they're going for. I
got the impression that that was coming with it. In my opinion,
that's insane. I don't think so. Because that'd be like an $800 bundle.
Because you remember the Xbox did that. I mean, the Xbox had a controller, the Kinect, which is essentially that camera that they showed, which is not going to be a Kinect type camera. It's just a multimedia camera. But they had the camera, the Kinect, the controller, and it had a headset, and it came with batteries for that controller. Only thing it didn't have was that remote. So.
The reason I don't think this would all be bundled together, there's two things. Two of the items I just don't think fit. The headset, for one, way too nice to go in a console bundle with all your consoles. Right. And number two, the charging base for the controller. Like,
Oh, I
there's no
forgot
way.
about the charging base.
There's no
Yeah.
way that's going to be bundled in there. They would never do that.
I
like,
think they,
ever.
I think they would. I think they
No,
would.
I don't think so. And like, I could see the camera maybe, but dude, we've played this game before already. Okay, like Xbox did this generation and it failed. Like bundling the Kinect with the console and not allowing people to buy it without the Kinect. That was a failure. That was a big reason why the Xbox flopped. Is because it was $500 for that fucking thing with a Kinect when nobody wanted the Kinect.
That's true. And they
and
had
I
to
just
patch
don't
it
think
in to
right.
do it without the Kinect. Yeah.
I don't think Sony's gonna make that mistake here. I don't see that. So I think they were just showing accessories.
Well, they may have a bundle where you can get all of that.
Yeah, I
think that would be because the price point people are throwing around were $765.
That's oh my god. That's
yeah, and I think with all the accessories included, that's the bundle.
Well, so that would be okay. Let's assume my guess for the console right now is 600, like 599, and
Okay.
I know that number is like really cursed for Sony, but let's say it is 599, right? Okay, you got another controller in there, like in the bundle, so that would be let's say $70 for the controller, so that's 670. You got your charging base. What do you think that costs? 40, 50, 30. Okay.
I don't think that technology is worth $40. Maybe 30.
They'll probably charge 40, but let's say $30. So that's 700. Then you got the camera in there. I mean, that's 100, dude, isn't it? Because the eye now is 100, isn't it? Or is it only 50?
You can get a decent 1080p camera for about $50 now.
Okay, so let's say it's 50. That's 750, and then you add the headset in there. I mean, they charge $100 for the headset for the PS4, and
what?
They do, yeah, the wireless one, the quote gold headset. So I mean, you're already looking at let's just say it's 50 though. It's $800 right there. So then the bundle brings it down $35. I mean, I guess that kind of makes sense.
But, I mean, when you put it in that perspective, they will probably give you a quote unquote deal if you just bundle it all together.
Have to. That's the point of a bundle. You don't bundle things into a bundle and then charge retail. Like I hate it when companies do that. Like that's not a deal. I don't like it's literally not a deal. Like it's the worst shit I've ever seen. Like the point of a bundle is that you get a discount for the bundle. Like
yeah. And that's
you're buying so much at once. Like
yeah, and that's what they're gonna do. They're gonna like this bundle. This is gonna be a holiday bundle, and then it's probably gonna be like maybe $20 less for the digital version of the console because it's just less hardware.
Or $25.
Yeah, $25 less. So I think without it, just base console, I'm looking at since you said that $599 is a really cursed number. I think they're gonna go $579 or $550. Like. That's where they're going to go. And I think the base console or the digital version of the console is probably going to be either $525 or $500.
Okay. I could see them doing a clean 50 and just saying the higher cost one is going to have like a full terabyte hard drive. And then the $50 less one without the hard drive is going to be, well, actually they couldn't do it that way. No, because the digital version has to have a large SSD.
So it may actually just balance itself out with the extra space. So they both may be, like you said, 550.
Yeah, maybe the digital one has 2 terabytes.
Yeah,
and it's
that would
price.
make more sense. Yeah,
that would make more sense. That's an interesting thought. I don't know. Yeah, we'll see what they do. I'm really curious about it. I don't know, man. The way they've been talking about it,
I think this was Sony's. They dropped the ball in this one because this was their way to push back towards, I mean, they already did push back significantly towards Xbox. They're kind of in even playing around, even though a lot of people may feel like Sony, quote unquote, won. I think they're on even battlegrounds here because like Xbox has been doing stuff for the last month.
Yeah.
And Sony is just now catching up. So I feel like they're even now.
Yeah. Well, sorry, go ahead.
No, but I'm sorry. This was their way. They could have got ahead of the game if they had to drop the price point. They could have made the terms for Xbox, if that makes any sense. Now I think they're putting it back into Xbox ball court and they're actually playing. That's actually to their detriment because I feel like Microsoft can't afford to lose a couple of bucks and be like, hey, $4.99, boom. And that's it. You know
I feel like Sony's disadvantaged no matter what. Because, dude, even if they had announced price here, Xbox could still undercut them, and
yeah.
I don't think it really matters. I think for them, them going after Xbox makes sense with the price. But I think the key, I don't disagree with you that they're kind of on an even field, like playing field right now. I think that the key is really going to be when Xbox shows games, which I believe they're going to be doing next month in July, is the next time they're going to be showing games. The next time they show games, they really need to be coming with heavy hitters because they bought a shitload of studios 2 years ago and then last year, and they have shown very, very little from what the fuck those studios are doing right now. And the shit they've shown has been weird and not appealing to the masses whatsoever. Like the fucking Survive game from Obsidian, they've shown Hellblade 2, which I think is a good one. But then they have that game that Ninja Theory's making, that multiplayer game. Like what the fuck even is that? You know,
It
it's
already
like,
came out and it's doing terrible.
oh, it did. Okay, yeah,
Bleeding
exactly,
edge.
exactly my point. Like they've bought all these really big name studios and they're doing nothing with them so far, and they really need to be showing something soon. They have this studio called The Initiative that they've been like stealth hyping for years now. Like, what the fuck are they making? Like, you need to show us what they're making because. Like, if they're your version of Naughty Dog, they better be coming with something that's on Naughty Dog's level, you know?
Well, I think Xbox's big thing is, and I'm in that train too, unfortunately. A lot of people, they show, if they do show something really super hype, like they showed that first party, I don't know if it's first party game, but that anime game they showed, right?
Yeah.
From Bandai Namco. Well, let's say they show another stylized game like that, or not even a stylized game, a really stylish game. Like maybe they show another Scalebound-esque game.
Yeah.
Everyone's going to look at them and be like, you canceled Scalebound. And I think Scalebound was one of their greatest failures because people really can't get hyped for games because they're afraid Xbox is just going to cancel it. And and frankly, I don't blame people for thinking that because Xbox is known for canceling shit. Even when it looks like it's really good, they will cancel it. And then the stuff that looks really bad, Crackdown 3, they just let go.
They just let it happen, yeah.
Yeah. And like everyone wanted another Phantom Dust game.
That got
and
canceled.
we got like a re-release of it. And then they also had like a remake that they were going to like reboot the franchise, and then they just canceled the game, even though everyone was excited about it. So it's just weird the way they operate, and that's why I'm really nervous about them acquiring all these studios, and a lot of other gamers are, because I was hyped for it, but then I just started thinking about it a lot, and I'm like, man, like they might cancel a lot of these projects that these studios are doing. So people are getting in bed with Xbox, and it's like really scary right now for.
Well, you got a company like Double Fine, right? Like, dude, I can't believe they got acquired by Xbox. I still think that's crazy, you know? Like, they just don't seem like a company that would ever let themselves get in bed with Xbox, you know? It's like, it's weird. Yeah. But that's my point, though, is that they have to show stuff. Like, if they don't come with these kind of hitters before the console comes out, they're in trouble, like, to me. Like, they cannot get away with just Halo. Like,
well, they can't get away with just their features. Like, I think the whole thing is they're trying to make Game Pass carry them and all these other features, which are really consumer friendly. Yes, but games, I need to know if I can play games, because if that's not the case, then a lot of these games I can just play on my PlayStation 5. Like,
you can play it on PC.
Yeah, you can play
go
it on
get
PC.
Game Pass on PC, dude, and play a lot of these games.
Because as of right now, and I saw a post that said it, there's really no reason for me to buy an Xbox Series X right now. Like, why would I want to buy this?
Right. That's my point about showing the games. They have to come with the games, and they need to be exclusive, even though they're not. Well, they're not going to be. That's right. They said they're all coming on PC, dude. So it's like, I don't know. They're in a weird spot.
Not everybody wants to play a PC, so I really don't see. A lot of people see PC as a threat. I see it as an extension, honestly.
Somebody like me doesn't necessarily need an Xbox Series X because I have a PC. Yeah, same with you.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
But not everybody has PCs like we do. So
exactly. But I actually prefer, if it was a choice and the graphics were almost similar to the same, I would prefer to play my games on a console. That's just me personally.
Me too.
It's only so much I can do sitting in front of a computer. I consider a computer, there are only certain games I'll play on the computer, to be honest with you, like MOBAs, MMOs,
Strategy games,
strategy games,
shooters.
maybe some shooters. I still consider like my console as a shooter
Well,
thing, but
I'm thinking of like Apex or
Apex, yeah.
multiplayer shooter.
Yeah, but like if we had to start playing Apex on like Xbox or something like that, if I had started playing on there, I probably would never touch it on PC. Same with like, PUBG or anything like that. But those are PC staple games to me
Yep.
because I played them on PC first. So it depends on what game I play first as far as shooters. But those other games, those are staple PC games. I cannot play a MOBA for my life on a console, except for like Paragon. But even then, I when I saw it, once that got ported over to the PC version, I was playing the PC version of Paragon. So it's like I just really don't like playing those games on consoles, and I don't like playing other games on PC, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
So if they do come out with some really good heavy hitters, I will buy Xbox for that because I'm like, well, the graphics are really good and I can play it comfortably on the controller, so I'm going to do that. And there are a lot of people that feel that way. So that's why I look at PC as an extension, even though a lot of people look at it as a different platform. I look at it as an extension to the big three, in my opinion. It's not up there to compete directly with them, if that makes any sense. Just because it takes, even though for me and you, it doesn't take that long to get into a PC gaming. But for the average consumer, it's just like a hurdle because you got to deal with different things. What if I do install, like you were having problems with Apex and you
it still crashes on me all the time.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure people don't want to deal with that shit. Like we're IT people, so we can kind of.
I don't want to deal with that shit. I'm a fucking IT person. Like I do that with my job. I don't want to do it at home. I want my PC to fucking work. Yeah. Like, it annoys the shit out of me when I have like a blue screen on my PC or something, or like my computer overheats. It pisses me off like to no end.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to deal with it. So no, I totally get it. No, I mean that's the argument I've made forever. Is like people like PC master race people are like fooling themselves if they think that like, okay, sure, yeah, you can get the best graphics on PC, but can you get the best stability on PC? Can you get the best user interface on PC? Can you get the cheapest parts on PC? No. The answer to all those questions is no. So
exactly.
And until any of them are yes, that no one's gonna play PC, like the general consumer. So
yeah, and I saw this being brought up too on Twitter when it was a couple of inklings of people like, oh, I'm just gonna get PC, and it's like, all right, bro, you do you, but we're focused on this PS5 right now, so it's definitely looking like a console that a lot of people are gonna get, and it has a lot of exclusives. And well, I could just wait for the PC version to come out, a year later. All right,
have fun, dude.
Have fun, waiting. Yeah.
Go back and play. Waiting. Yeah, play like Dota or something until it comes out. Have fun.
Yeah, so I don't know. I think consoles aren't going anywhere for a while, and
I don't either. There's a lot of people saying that like this is going to be the last generation, like PS5. I don't think so. And the way Sony's talking about this is like they're like we're really into the generations, like we like that transition, like we've built our brand around that, and it's like I agree with them. I like the generations. I don't want this streamlined like phone bullshit where we get a new console every year. Like I don't want that. Like I don't want that future. That's not what I want. I like this. Like this is fine with me.
Well, it's so fun to see, right? Because
this is hype.
Like when you just like game progression, like when you remember the first beginning of this console generation, games still look like ass. They look like maybe high res versions of Xbox 360 and PS3 games. Now they look fucking gorgeous. They're pushing the console to a limit, and I love seeing middle to end generation games because those are some of the fucking best games that come out. Like early adopting games are really cool, but like when you start seeing like I'm so hyped for 5 years from now when we look at PS5 and Xbox Series X games and we're gonna be like, holy shit! Remember back in 2020 when this came? And look at 2025 now. Look at this game. Like I'm so hyped for that, but we just got to get there.
I mean, dude, we've been telling people. I think like we both agree on this. Like I do think this next generation is going to be like a big jump. It's just not going to be. It's just not going to
change the game.
It's just not going to be like in the obvious ways that players necessarily see at first blush. But when you get into the guts of a game, the shit they're going to be doing is going to be fucking crazy. It's going to be pretty nuts. And I mean, we even saw that with some of these games like that they showed today. Like I said, the Ratchet and Clank, like that was the most beautiful game we saw today. and it's like a cartoony shooter game, like, but it legitimately looked like a game that couldn't be played on PS4, like in my opinion.
Exactly, right? Like that Ratchet and Clank game looks so super gorgeous. Imagine with like, I don't know, when Square gets their technology, their hands on the technology, and they're like, oh, they probably already had their hands on the technology, but it's just like, imagine what Final Fantasy 16 is going to look like, or imagine
Final
what
Fantasy
Final
7
Fantasy
Remake
7
too.
Remake 2 is going to look like.
Yeah.
Like that shit's going to look how it looked on the fucking PS4. Like,
Right. Well, think about that. One of the big criticisms for Final Fantasy VII Remake was all the moments in the game where like the game slows down and Cloud starts walking because a cutscene's about to play or something.
Yeah.
And it's like arbitrary. That shit, that's not going to happen. That's all gone. That's all going to be gone, guys. Like, that's not going to happen anymore unless they want it for a cinematic reason to happen. Like, that's like, there won't be any of those fake loading screens anymore. Like,
even if they got to implement that in like one or two cases, I'm assuming those scenes are going to be so over the top gorgeous. They're like, okay, we had to kind of slow you down to brace you for what the fuck
we want to make sure you see how gorgeous this is.
Yeah. So I'm hyped for it. I can't fucking wait.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. I don't care what the price is. I think I'm definitely getting this on day one. Xbox, I don't know. Like, I know I've like talked about the idea of like maybe getting one, but it's just like, the more I just think about it all, I always think about it and I'm like, I don't know. I like Sony's exclusives and I can't play them anywhere else. And like Microsoft's like, I have a PC. I have a good PC, you know, like I don't need an Xbox, you know? So I don't know. Right now, I think Sony's like, I know we just said that they're on an even playing field, but I do think Sony's ahead. I think the games they showed and what they've shown and what it looks like these games could be capable of is impressive. And I really think Xbox has to come back and hit hard with whatever they show next. Like, I don't think they can show their piddly little shit, you know, like they have to show like a real ass AAA games, you know? And like I said, Halo is not going to be the only thing they can show. Like, they can't get away with that anymore. Like, it's just, you have to have games in this day and age to be able to compete in the space, you know? Games are what sell the consoles, you know? And without that, you're just going to lose again, you know? And maybe Xbox can pretend all they want that, you know, selling half the units that PS4 or PS5 does is okay with them. They don't consider that failure. Great. Okay, great. You know, I guess you'll always be second then if that's what you feel. But we will see what the price is. That's going to be a big part of this for sure. I think if Xbox is significantly cheaper, that is their edge. That is going to be their edge. But if they're on par and the games are not equal and PS5's game lineup looks better, I don't know how. I don't think Xbox is going to be able to hang in that situation. So, but I did forget to mention this when we were talking about Horizon 2. There was no release window or release date shown or even release year shown, so we have no idea when that's coming. That is definitely not going to be a launch game. Like, will put money on that because they've already basically said that Spider-Man is going to be a launch game. So I think that's going to be their hitter, like heavy hitter, Breath of the Wild, basically. Game for the launch, and then they're going to have Ratchet and Clank as well there. So it's like they're going to have two different types of games. And I think that's a really good lineup there, and I'm sure there will be other stuff as well, third party and otherwise. So
that's wild. Isn't that just weird? A superhero game is going to be a launch title that we're really excited about. Like,
that's awesome, dude.
I know, it's just wild. Remember, superhero games used to be like really bad.
Oh, I know. Yeah. But yeah, I would expect Horizon no sooner than spring of 2021, probably. That would be 4 years after the first one came out. But I could see it as late as the fall next year, even. So I'm sure we'll see more of it, though, in the coming months. All right. We are, oh my God, Jesus. I'm okay. Everything's fine. I dropped my water. All right, let's move on. Sorry. Let's move on. Let me get myself settled here. Let's move on to game release dates. There were a couple announced this week that I'm excited about. THQ Nordic announced that Kingdoms of Amalur Reckoning is getting a remaster called Kingdoms of Amalur Re-Reckoning, and it's a terrible name, but it is exciting nonetheless because this game was made by 38 Studios and was the only game in its franchise made and it is probably like one of the most tragic stories in video game history. What happened to the studio? But
fuck EA.
no, not even EA, man. Like I think Kurt Schilling overstepped his means with what he did behind the scenes there, because he misappropriated funds basically.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Okay.
dude, he was trying to make an MMO. Like that's what he wanted to make, and he made Amalur basically to get money to make the MMO, and they overspent on the MMO, and it caused the studio to close because there was no way they were going to make their money back on this game.
Because this game, man, like, I don't know if you guys like, it's like an earlier version of Dragon Age, like when I'm playing as a rogue in Dragon Age Inquisition. But this game is like way more action. You can build your character the way you want to build them and everything like that. And it's just the amount of shit you can do in this game and the story. And I just remember the combat being fucking phenomenal. I don't remember the story, but the combat is just fucking.
I will be playing this game on launch. I never played it, and I've always wanted to play it. And here's my excuse: it's going to have all the DLC. It's going to be remastered. It's going to look gorgeous. Like so. Yeah, I'm definitely playing this. I'm really excited about this one. It is going to be coming on August 18th.
Damn, that's so far.
It's far, but I think that's a perfect date for it. August is like usually a dead month, so that's a great month for a game like this, or a great time period for a game like this. And yeah, I've always heard really good things about this game, so I'm definitely.
I didn't know the creator of Spawn was working on this game. That worked on this game.
Oh yeah, and the dude R.A. Salvatore wrote the lore for the universe for Amalur.
That's why this game's really fucking good.
Yeah, dude. No, I mean like that. That was the thing, though. They spent a shitload of money on that because they wanted it for the MMO, and then they never got the MMO out. Like the company went under. They got a loan from Rhode Island of $75 million that they never paid back. They also got money from EA that I don't think EA was happy about. Like they didn't recoup very much of it. And yeah, the studio was just mismanaged, and they went under quickly because of it. It's sad though, because yeah, this game, people love this game, and I think people really like this universe, and it just sucks that like they never got to make another one or finish their vision with the MMO, because I think this would have been a really big like change in the MMO space, but potentially, but never came. So, but yeah. THQ Nordic, I'm sure depending on how this does, they acquired the rights to this, you know, to re-release this game, but I really think there's a really high likelihood they make another game, like they make a sequel.
Whether I'm just scared of that because Darksiders 3 was not the sequel I wanted.
I was just about to say whether that sequel is good is a different question, but I think another Amalur game is pretty likely, honestly. So. All right, let's move on to the final one for the week. This one is, again, for me, I mentioned this game last week, but it has been officially announced. The date, Crosscode, is coming to consoles on July 9th, baby, and I am hyped. I'm so hyped. This game looks dope as shit. I'm so ready. I don't know what platform I'm getting it on, though. I've wanted it on Switch, but I kind of want to get it on PS4. I'm not sure which one I'm going to get it on.
You complained and bitched and moaned about it not being on the Switch because it's a perfect Switch title. You better get on the fucking Switch.
I know, but I kind of want to play it on PlayStation, man. I don't know. It's coming in a month, so I have a month to wrestle with this decision, but I'm so excited for this game. Like I probably will be playing this on launch. I'm not sure 100%, but my summer is starting to get filled out, and it's like, shit. Because I got Xenoblade now. We got Last of Us 2 in a week from tomorrow, right? Yeah, a week from tomorrow. Yeah. Then I have this game on July 9th. Then a week after that, we got Ghost of Tsushima. And then a month after that, we got Amalur. Like, I'm like, shit, man. This shit, summer's starting to get packed. Like, I don't know. I'm not going to have time for all these games again. But exciting nonetheless. I'm really excited for, like, all those games, though, that I just mentioned. So, do you think you'll check this game out, or does it not appeal to you? Crosscode.
I don't want to be that guy. The graphics don't really look like it's appealing to me.
All right. No, fair enough. Aesthetics matter, man. They do. I know.
I'm so over the retro aesthetics, and I know they probably didn't have money to do what they wanted to do or maybe this was their vision. I don't know. I'm just over the whole
Yeah,
retro
but this is a
aesthetic.
retro aesthetic. I feel like it's not done super often. This is like a SNES style action game, you know,
Yeah,
and that's not common. I don't feel like 8-bit. That's super common, you know. I feel like even the like you said, the like 2D like Mega Man style is fairly common, but I don't know. This is kind of like Secret of Mana esque, and it's like I don't feel like there's a lot of games that have done that, you know. But I don't know. The fact that it's a game within a game is like I don't know why, but that is really appealing to me as well. And I like the character art too, so I'm gonna be playing it for sure. All right, let's move on to the final segment: game releases for the week. There's not much. Actually, there's really nothing. Like Samurai Showdown's coming to PC. That's all I see. That's like remotely interesting.
I don't really see anything.
Word.
Unburned
Well,
2 drink.
I don't even know what that is. All right.
But anyway, yeah, that's it.
That's going to be it, guys. We've had a long episode, so we're going to wrap it up here. So if you like the episode, please like the episode, review the episode, or review the show, and subscribe to the show on whatever feed you are listening to it on. And if you could, please share it with your friends. We are looking to grow the audience. If you'd like to talk to either of us on Twitter, you can do so for Montrell at iTrap for the oh my God, I am like broken. I trap for the Hokage for Montrell. That is the number 4, not the word. I'm at Thunder01. The show is at the Players Take. If you'd like to send us a question, you can do so on Twitter or send us a question or an email to the playerstake01@gmail.com. I am falling apart here at the end of the show. This has been a long show, long fucking week. I need it to end, so it's over. That's it. I don't know what we're talking about next week. Probably more Xenoblade. I hope you're ready for it. We hope you enjoyed this one. See you on the next one. Bye, guys.